All the moments Lee Junwoo remembers involve Choi Tae-gam, from the very moment before he was born until now. The persistent bond between the two has always remained. Because their parents were high school friends, both families lived next to each other. Tae-gam was a small and incredibly cute boy, shorter than Junwoo by a head, with big round eyes and porcelain white skin. He was so adorable that even though they were the same age, Junwoo always felt the mission to protect him. Junwoo's way of caring for Tae-gam was a bit different. Every day they went to school together, sharing many things. No matter how big or small the matter was, sometimes Tae-gam expressed dissatisfaction with Junwoo's excessive protection, but he didn't really hate it. However, a problem arose. Since Tae-gam differentiated into an alpha, he began to avoid Junwoo. At first, he sneaked to school without Junwoo, and later he blatantly avoided him. Junwoo didn't understand why Tae-gam was doing this. Thus, the two gradually became distant from each other. Time passed, and both became first-year high school students. Junwoo felt hurt because the little boy who always followed him around no longer needed him. Junwoo thought it was because he was not an alpha but just a beta who couldn't differentiate, so Tae-gam avoided him. Junwoo packed his bag and started cleaning since it was his turn for cleaning duty. He rolled up his sleeves and went to wash the mop first. He took the mop to the men's restroom. As soon as he stepped in, he felt a bad premonition. Junwoo didn't know what this anxious feeling was. He put the mop down and opened each restroom door. Suddenly, he stopped and opened the door in front of him. He was shocked to see a weary, disheveled Choi Tae-gam sitting inside. Junwoo called out in surprise. Seeing Tae-gam in that state made his heart ache. Tae-gam trembled in response. Junwoo bit his lip, hugged Tae-gam, and comforted him. "It's okay." Junwoo's heart ached, wondering what had happened to Tae-gam, why he couldn't resist, and why he didn't seek help. This was something that early differentiated alphas faced. They couldn't hide it. Pheromones would be released, causing omegas to go into heat even if it wasn't intentional. Tae-gam, being a dominant alpha, was no different. His pheromones were so strong that they triggered the heat of an undifferentiated omega. It seemed that the omega he triggered that day was a newly differentiated senior. Tae-gam, in Junwoo's arms, tearfully said, "I hate omegas. I really do. I'm glad you're a beta." After that day, the two returned to being close like before, but with some differences. Junwoo protected Tae-gam more, and Tae-gam depended on Junwoo more, but it didn't last long. Choi Tae-gam grew up, became more popular, and was no longer chased by perverted omegas. More and more students blushed upon seeing him. In high school, Tae-gam received love letters every morning. Tae-gam crumpled them up. Seeing this, Junwoo said, "Hey, if you do that, the person who sent the letter will be hurt." Tae-gam threw the letter into the trash can, saying, "Those letters are filled with omega pheromones, ruining my mood." Junwoo realized something. Pheromones. He felt bitter, thinking that Tae-gam disliked omegas because he was a beta. But sometimes he was glad he wasn't an omega. Before, being a beta allowed him to protect Tae-gam. Now, not being an omega meant he could stay beside him. Tae-gam told Junwoo, "You don't understand. Every object is covered in pheromones. Even just passing by, you get some on you. The only way to avoid it is not to breathe." Junwoo replied, "Shouldn't you change your attitude towards pheromones? It's not healthy." Tae-gam lay down and said, "Just not meeting omegas is enough for me. I don't need to change." Junwoo sighed, patted Tae-gam's head, and comforted him, knowing this issue wasn't simple. "I'm worried about you because you might have to interact with omegas continuously. You can't always avoid it." Suddenly, Junwoo noticed Tae-gam's ears turning red. Worried, he asked, "Are you getting a fever again? Take a rest. I'll call you when the teacher comes." For some reason, Tae-gam felt embarrassed, turned away from Junwoo's hand, and said softly, "I'm glad I'm not an omega." Junwoo felt that Tae-gam's dislike of omegas had nothing to do with him. Then, that winter, Lee Junwoo differentiated into an omega. An underclassman shouted, "Come on, everyone, let's toast." It had been 3 hours since the welcome party for new students began. Junwoo was dragged to the drinking table because his peers hadn't graduated while he was doing his military service. They pulled him here. Junwoo was annoyed as his tipsy underclassmen kept pouring him drinks. Suddenly, someone asked, "Senior, did you just return from the military?" Junwoo noticed the person next to him. His first impression of the underclassman was that he was very handsome, with a bright face and chestnut-colored hair. Junwoo replied, "Yes, I just got back from the army." The underclassman said, "That's why you're wearing a hat, right?" Junwoo pushed his hat up a bit and nodded. In reality, he had been out of the military for several months. The hat wasn't because of that, but he didn't want to explain further, so he just nodded. The underclassman continued, "But, senior," before he could finish, another underclassman interrupted to pour drinks. "Come on, cheers." Junwoo turned pale, saying, "You all go ahead without me." To Junwoo, this place wasn't suitable for drinking. It was crowded, and his peers were all drunk, making everything chaotic. Moreover, every time the door opened and closed, he had a bad feeling. Junwoo felt uneasy, pulling his hat down further. The person across from him asked, "What should we toast to?" Junwoo, one hand on his hat, waved the other, saying, "Just something simple." The underclassman next to him lifted his glass, smiling, "To our seniors return from the military." Junwoo felt awkward, wondering why they were toasting his return at a new student welcome party. Before he could say anything, the underclassman interjected, "Oh, that's good. Let's toast to that." Everyone at the table lifted their glasses, shouting, "To our senior Junwoo's return from the military. Congratulations on your discharge, sir." The students are back at the military academy, the active duty soldiers. Everyone is bustling with congratulations for Runwoo's discharge. He is smiling brightly in response to those congratulatory messages. His junior next to him turns to his senior and asks, "What's going on? Why did you enlist?" The junior is puzzled by his senior's curiosity. The junior continues, Senior Ma." The sound of the door creaking interrupts his words. Runwoo is startled and glances toward the door. He feels a sense of panic as the person entering is Choi Taegam. Taegam has arrived. Everyone is very happy to see him, and Junwoo pulls his hat down, thinking to himself, "This is bad." Seeing this, the junior beside him asks, "Senior Junwoo, are you okay?" Junwoo quickly responds, "Don't call me by name." The junior beside him does not understand the strong pheromone scent mixing in the air. This causes Junwoo to be startled because he is an Omega. People around them are whispering. So the alpha's pheromones are really potent, the junior next to him observes. The senior seems to be an exceptional alpha. Junwoo grabs the junior's sleeve tightly. The junior anxiously asks, "Senior, are you all right?" Junwoo answers, "I'm fine." Suddenly, someone asks, "Junwoo, what year are you in?" Another person eagerly responds, "Junwoo is repeating the year, so he is in year 53. Junwoo is stunned and motionless. Taegam looks toward the source of the voice and emits even more pheromones. Lee Junwoo, angry, rushes toward Lee Junwoo, grabbing his trembling arm and exuding a lot of pheromones. After 5 years, the pheromones Junwoo had not sensed for a long time, Beta, now feel intense and unfamiliar emotion. It is boiling strongly inside him, but he tries not to show it. Junwoo exhales to regain his composure, looks up, and smiles, saying, Taegam, it's been a long time, hasn't it? How have you been? Hearing this, Taegam's expression becomes even more unpleasant. Junwoo looks around. If this situation continues, the increasing pheromones will make it hard for other Omegas and even Junwoo to stay calm. He sighs, releases the junior's sleeve, stands up, and says, "Let's go outside to talk." Both head outside, with Jun-woo leading and Tae-gom following. Jun-woo glances at Tae-gom, thinking, "He followed me without complaining." Thankfully, Jun-woo feels relieved, taking out a pack of cigarettes and shaking it in front of him. Tae-gom asks if he can smoke. Then he takes out a cigarette, and the aroma of the smoke blends into the air. Tae-gom feels uncomfortable and covers his nose. This cigarette is a product meant to create a bit of pheromone scent for betas who lack pheromones, Jun-woo explains. Although Jun-woo doesn't want to smoke in front of someone who dislikes it, he needs this cigarette to tolerate Tae-gom's pheromones. Jun-woo feels fortunate that as the smoke disperses, Tae-gom's pheromones gradually stabilize. Jun-woo exhales, then puts out the cigarette. Tae-gom looks at him and asks if he's back to school. Jun-woo smiles, brushes his hair, and replies, "Yes, because I enlisted and came back, so I'm studying in year 53 now. You know, right? I was sick, so I had to retake the exams and then enlist. During the time I was enlisted," Tae-gom responds, "I know, Run-woo." Jun-woo brushes a few strands of hair and lifts his bangs. He doesn't know what to say and can't think of anything good to say. Tae-gom steps up to Jun-woo angrily and says, "Lee Jun-woo, I want to ask something. If not, you can say it yourself." Run-woo bows his head. "I'm sorry for the university entrance exams. I was seriously ill and couldn't attend university because I didn't even meet the minimum score. Then I focused on studying in the preparation center, so I couldn't contact you." He fiddles with the hat in his hand and continues, "It's not that I deliberately avoided you. That's how it was. I'm sorry, but you didn't contact me either. It's okay to meet again, isn't it?" Tae-gom feels shocked. After hearing Jun-woo's words, he clenches his fists. "Because you said you were studying, I didn't call. I heard you were studying at the preparation center, so I was afraid contacting you would interrupt your studies. So I didn't reach out while I was enlisted. Every time I had leave, you were never home. I thought I'd talk to you when I was discharged, and I endured through 25 months. Tae-gom seemed on the verge of tears. But just as I got discharged, you enlisted. Did you ever think of meeting me during your leave? Is my existence just like this to you? We are friends, aren't we?" The term friends makes Run-woo's heart skip a beat. "Of course we are friends. I didn't know it made you so sad." "I'm sorry." Run-woo tries to play the role of a friend. He awkwardly adds, "It's just that I was embarrassed because I didn't get into university, so that's why. You know, I was doing better than you, so forgive me this once. In middle school, you also avoided me," and Jun-woo only said that to make Tae-gom feel better. But Tae-gom understands Run-woo too well. He grabs Run-woo's hand tightly. "You know you can't lie. Promise me you won't avoid me anymore. We've both finished our military service, so whether you say you'll take a break from school or go abroad or whatever, I won't be sympathetic. Last year I took a break from school, so now I'm studying in year 53. I don't accept you avoiding me without a reason. If you can give a reasonable explanation that I can understand." Run-woo avoids Tae-gom's gaze. He fears that revealing the truth will end their relationship. He doesn't know what to do. So Jun-woo bows his head and mumbles, "I understand. Tae-gom." Tae-gom smiles, pats Jun-woo's head, and says, "Good. Let's go back inside." Run-woo looks at Tae-gom, then calls out, "Hey, Tae-gom, do you still dislike omegas?" Tae-gom looked at Jun-woo and then said, "Yeah," to the point of getting goosebumps. This remark made Jun-woo shiver. He quickly took out a pack of cigarettes, his hands trembling as he pulled one out. "Lucky for me, I'm not an omega," he said with a bright smile. "You go in first, I'll come in after I finish this," he said. Tae-gom looked worried. "Don't smoke too much," he said. Watching Tae-gom's back as he walked away, Jun-woo felt an emptiness inside. It had been 5 years since he discovered he was an omega and started avoiding Tae-gom, as well as realizing he had feelings for him. Jun-woo wanted to say, you know, "Choi Tae-gom, I'm an omega," but those words couldn't come out. He extinguished his cigarette and said to himself, "I have to stop." Jun-woo returned to the party. For some reason, everyone was staring at him. A junior approached him and asked, Are you dating Senior Choi Taegam? Jun-woo sighed. We're just friends, he said. The junior sitting next to him skeptically asked, Friends? Who lets their friends' scent stick to them like that? Jun-woo asked, puzzled. What do you mean? The junior explained, anyone would think you're an alpha because you have an alpha scent all over you. I'm just saying. Jun-woo scratched his ear in confusion. Maybe it's because we've been around each other for so long, he said. But you said you're childhood friends, right? Why is it like this now? Aren't you close? People around them chimed in, yeah, earlier we smelled Senior Taegam's scent on you. It was the first time I've seen that. How close are you two? Jun-woo felt embarrassed. Choi Taegam and I are friends, that's all. There's nothing more to it, he said. Really? Because neither of you seem like the type to start a conversation first. And how do you know Choi Taegam? You weren't even in the same class. A girl joined in, Senior Choi Taegam is famous. You say you're close but don't know that. Jun-woo wondered aloud, famous? For being handsome. The girl replied, his nickname is the God of the Business Department, and he's a dominant alpha. Among alphas, Senior Choi Taegam is very popular. I hear his scent is no joke. Plus, he doesn't date, so he's even more famous. The junior abruptly cut in, you're really not dating Senior Choi Taegam? Jun-woo glanced at Taegam in the distance. I don't know, maybe not. He hates omegas, he said. An alpha hating omegas? Jun-woo responded, yeah, but what's your name? The junior enthusiastically replied, Senior, you don't know my name? I'm Do-hyun Kim. Do-hyun? Jun-woo repeated, how can an alpha hate omegas? Jun-woo thought, could this kid be interested in Choi Taegam too? Jun-woo asked, you're an alpha too, right? Do-hyun took a sip of beer and answered, yes. How did you know without knowing my name? It's just a guess. Alphas usually understand each other, right? Do-hyun said, yeah, but it's still strange. The biological nature of alphas is to be attracted to omega scents. Especially dominant alphas, when an omega goes into heat, they lose all rationality. Saying you hate omegas doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't he be attracted to them? Taegam, who had been standing there unnoticed, suddenly spoke up, startling both of them. Jun-woo hadn't sensed his presence at all. When did you get here? He asked, flustered. Taegam sat down next to Jun-woo, poured himself a drink, and downed it in one gulp before holding his empty glass towards Jun-woo. Not understanding, Jun-woo hesitated. Do you want me to pour for you? Before he could react, Do-hyun quickly grabbed the bottle. Let me pour for you, Senior. I'm a freshman in the literature department. You're in the business department, right? He handed his empty glass to Taegam. Can you pour me a drink too? Taegam ignored him, picked up his glass, and drank it all in one go. Jun-woo complained, such a brat. Let me pour for you. He picked up the bottle to pour for Do-hyun, but Taegam quickly grabbed his hand, took the bottle, and poured for Do-hyun himself. You're a junior of Lee Jun-woo? Taegam asked. Yes, Senior Jun-woo has taken good care of us, Do-hyun replied. Jun-woo felt something was off. Taken care of? This is our first meeting, he thought. Taegam unexpectedly moved closer to Jun-woo. How did you know so much about me? Jun-woo, startled, leaned away slightly. No, it's not like that. They just asked if you had a girlfriend. And you don't, right? Taegam didn't answer directly, but asked back. What about you? Jun-woo was taken aback. I don't have one. Taegam responded. I don't either. Jun-woo fiddled with the glass on the table. So that's how it is, he said. Do-hyun suddenly asked, Senior, can I ask you something? What is it? Taegam asked coldly. I heard you hate omegas. Is Senior Jun-woo okay with that? Taegam asked back. What's wrong with Lee Jun-woo? Do-hyun replied. Senior Jun-woo is an omega. Jun-woo was startled by this statement. Do-hyun continued, I wanted to ask earlier, why did you join the military? Aren't omegas exempt from service? Jun-woo felt a chill down his spine. Omegas are exempt from military service due to their heat cycles causing many issues, but Junwoo wanted to serve. By the time he finished his service, no one knew he was an Omega. Moreover, Junwoo hadn't experienced his heat cycle, so no one sensed his pheromones. Taegam frowned. You're saying Lee Junwoo is an Omega? Do-hyun looked at Junwoo. Yes, isn't he? The smell of Senior Junwoo's pheromones was what he was about to say when he noticed Junwoo's face turning pale. Worried, he asked Senior, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" Suddenly, Taegam grabbed Junwoo's arm, pulling him close, and said irritably, "He's a beta, not an Omega." Do-hyun was taken aback. Beta? Really? Junwoo forced a smile. Do I look like an Omega? It's probably the cigarette smell that's confusing you. I smoke pheromone-laced cigarettes. Do-hyun held the pack of cigarettes, looking embarrassed. So it's the pheromone cigarettes. I must have mistaken it. Sorry. Taegam wrapped his arms around Junwoo's waist from behind, causing Junwoo to feel uncomfortable. Good to know, Taegam said, glaring at Do-hyun. After a tense moment, Do-hyun stood up. I'm going to the restroom. After the person left, Taegam asked, Are you close with him? Junwoo replied, Close? It's the first time we've met today. It seems he cares more about you. Taegam was surprised, pointing at his own face. Me? Oh. Junwoo nodded. Yes, you. He seems to be one of the alphas interested in you. Hearing this, Taegam felt even more uncomfortable. His pheromones were strongly emanating near his voice. He's an alpha, Junwoo said. Yes, the pheromones make Runwoo shiver. Upon hearing this, Taegam released even more pheromones. Junwoo wanted to tell Taegam to tone down his pheromones, but he still tried to stay calm. Taegam smiled and said, It's a good thing you're not an Omega. Runwoo stood up abruptly. I'm going out to smoke a cigarette. Taegam worriedly asked, Another cigarette? I'll go with you. Runwoo interrupted, Just stay here. You don't like the smell of smoke either. Taegam pouted, If you're going to smoke, I'll come with you. If you had known, you wouldn't have smoked. I'll go with you. Runwoo took a few steps and then stopped. What if I were an Omega? Taegam responded. Then I wouldn't have become friends with you. Junwoo shook the cigarette pack in his hand. All right, I'm going out to smoke. He hurriedly walked off. His mood was very low. After the party ended, the junior held Runwoo's hand and repeatedly congratulated him on his discharge. It was difficult for Junwoo to avoid the invitation to go drinking. Two juniors, Do-hyun and Sung-ri, approached the two standing there. It seems the senior isn't drinking, Do-hyun remarked. I can't drink, so I didn't mention it. The junior then gave Runwoo a big hug to congratulate him on his discharge. Junwoo helplessly pushed him away, and Taegam asked Do-hyun, Are you Kim Do-hyun? Do-hyun replied, Yes, as Taegam pulled the junior Sung-ri toward Do-hyun. Take him home, Taegam instructed. Junwoo also asked Do-hyun to take Sung-ri home and promised to treat him to a meal next time. Taegam asked Runwoo, How about you? Are you going home? Let's just take a taxi home. It's close, Runwoo replied. Taegam, concerned, asked, What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Runwoo answered, I'm renting a place now. Have been for 4 months. Taegam was surprised. You're renting a place even though it's only 30 minutes away from school? Oh, all right. Where's your rental place? Near school? Taegam took Runwoo's hand. Let's go. I'll take you home. Runwoo was surprised. You're taking me home? Do you still think you need to protect me? Runwoo smiled. Taegam remembered moments from their childhood when Junwoo had suggested holding Taegam's hand because he was walking a bit slow. Taegam blushed. You walk quickly, Junwoo smiled. Those were happy times, weren't they? I remember when we used to hold hands and walk together. How about now? Junwoo extended his hand towards Taegam, saying, Let's hold hands. Junwoo's face turned red, realizing he had been too impulsive. He withdrew his hand. I just remembered how we used to hold hands. Taegam unexpectedly took Runwoo's hand, interlocking their fingers. Back then, I wasn't walking slowly. I was intentionally walking behind you because you were always ahead. I wanted to be there for you. Hearing this, Run Woo's heart raced. Embarrassed, he pulled his hand away and retorted, "Did I ever fall?" Taegam called out from behind, "Liucong Woo, I have many questions about you. How are you living? What are you doing? Why did you avoid me? Why are you renting a place? Where did you enlist? Why didn't you come to see me during your leave? Didn't you think of me at all?" These were also the questions Junwoo wanted to ask in return. How have you been? What have you been doing? Did you think of me? When I was avoiding you, why didn't you come looking for me? Junwoo bit his lip, suppressing his feelings, then calmly asked, "Why are you so curious about these things?" Taegam answered, "Because we are friends. That's why I'm curious. It's not that I have to care." Junwoo clenched his fist, looking at Taegam. "I don't see you as a friend. To me, you're like family." Runwoo smiled brightly and patted Taegam on the shoulder. Taegam sighed in relief and responded, "I'll see you in front of your rental place." Taegam said, "Why don't I also rent a place? Isn't it expensive? What's the use? Why are you renting a place? It has its own advantages, you know? How quickly you change your attitude. Want to have a cup of tea? No, there's no point in drinking now. You don't like people coming to your place. It's late, you should go in." Runwoo took a few steps and then stopped. "Be careful on your way home." After taking a shower, Taegam texted, "I've taken a taxi. Sleep well. See you tomorrow." Even a brief message made Runwoo excited and happy. He replied, "You too. Sleep well." The next day in class, Junwoo couldn't focus, thinking only about Taegam. What is he studying? If only he were in my department, that would be great. If only I didn't like him. No, if only I weren't an Omega, I might have had a chance. If only I hadn't avoided him. We could have studied together and still been desk partners. Junwoo snapped back to reality when the teacher announced, "That's it for today's class." Junwoo looked at his phone to check the time and realized the class had ended. While thinking about Taegam, he had unconsciously written his name in his notebook. Honestly, Junwoo was very happy to see Taegam again last night, and the excitement kept him awake. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Taegam's face. Should he set aside his feelings and just be friends? Junwoo pondered. Maybe it's better not to see each other anymore. Suddenly, someone tapped his shoulder. Junwoo turned around to find Kim Do-hyun. Surprised, Junwoo asked, "You're in this class?" Do-hyun replied, "I thought you were pretending not to know. But it turns out you really didn't know." Junwoo packed up his books and asked, "Have you eaten yet?" Do-hyun replied, "I haven't decided where to eat yet." "Then let's have lunch together," Do-hyun suggested. "Let's go to the place I know." Junwoo noticed that Do-hyun's pheromones were emitting strongly, making him nervous, causing his hand to shake as he held his drink. Looking around, it seemed that besides him, no one else noticed Do-hyun's pheromones, so he couldn't mention them to avoid exposing that he was not beta. Junwoo tried to stay calm and asked, "What class are you in?" "Travel English," Do-hyun answered. "It's a mandatory subject for first-year students." Seeing Junwoo's unperturbed expression, Do-hyun gradually retracted his pheromones just as the food was served. However, Junwoo found the meal unappetizing. He glanced at Do-hyun, who was trying to hide his pheromones from Taegam. Junwoo was unsure if he had made a mistake that allowed Do-hyun to detect it. Amid the crowd, Taegam happened to enter the restaurant. Upon seeing Junwoo, he smiled and said, "Liucong Woo, you're here for lunch?" But when he saw Do-hyun there as well, Taegam hesitated. Do-hyun greeted first, "Hello, senior." "Runwoo," Junwoo said, "to avoid any awkwardness. Since my junior is treating me, I came here. Seems you're having lunch here too." Taegam looked dissatisfied. Junwoo said, "It's understandable. It's not like I'm close with Do-hyun, but I accepted the invitation to eat." A friend of Taegam called him over to complete the order for others. Recognizing Junwoo from the party, Junwoo felt embarrassed and asked, "Aren't you going to join your friends?" "Move over a bit." Taegon pushed Runwoo to the side and sat down. Noticing something, Taegon suddenly pulled Runwoo's collar and pulled him close, whispering into his neck while exuding a pheromone. Fair Cameron's scent enveloped Runwoo. Startled, Junwoo blushed and pushed him away. "What's wrong with you? This is so annoying," Taegon muttered while glaring at Do-hyuk. He released more pheromones, erasing any trace of Do-hyuk's scent from earlier. Taegon looked at the menu and asked, "Shall we eat rice?" "I can't eat cold food," Runwoo replied, sweating. Trying to stay calm, Runwoo said, "I just thought it looked good, so I ordered it. Give it to me and eat your rice. Don't get a stomachache later." Runwoo stood up shakily. "I'm going to the bathroom for a bit. I'll be right back." Taegon barely had time to ask, "Why are you in such a hurry?" before Junwoo ran into the bathroom and closed the door. His face was flushed, and he was reacting below. Fortunately, Taegon didn't notice. "If he finds out I'm in heat, he'll hate me," Junwoo thought, unsure how to handle the situation. Trying to calm himself, he decided to smoke some Farinol before returning. When he got back to the table, Taegon commented, "You should smoke less." Junwoo sniffed his sleeve. "Does it smell strong?" "It's not the smell," Taegon replied, but Do-hyuk interrupted, "Can't eat cold food?" "No, not really," Taegon added irritably. "You can't eat it, or you'll get a stomachache," Do-hyuk said shyly. "Maybe we should have gone somewhere else? Is there anything you like to eat?" Taegon handed a plate to Junwoo. "What do you mean?" "Junwoo eats everything." Do-hyuk asked Junwoo, "Can you eat sushi?" "What about raw meat?" Taegon answered for him. "He can't eat raw food, just a bit of beef." Runwoo, frustrated with their conversation, slammed his chopsticks on the table. "What are you two doing in front of me?" Taegon stood up. "Are you done eating? So let's go." Do-hyuk smiled. "Next time, let's go eat something you like." "Sure," Junwoo replied, and Taegon quickly went to pay the bill. "I've already paid for everything." Not knowing if they were invited, Taegon added, "I can eat anything." Do-hyuk stood silent. Outside, Junwoo asked, "Why did you pay for the meal? Why did you treat him? You said you weren't close to him." Taegon patted Runwoo's head. "We're not close. He just asked me to treat him, so I did." Taegon continued, "Don't hang out with Kim Do-hyun. You're acting like a grade schooler. Why do you hate Kim Do-hyun so much? He covered you with pheromono from those alphas. He's marking you as his own." Taegon got angry. "You've always been like this, covered in pheromones from alphas and omegas without your consent. As your friend, how can I be happy?" Junwoo tightened his backpack straps, listening to Taegon's words. Taegon wasn't expressing sweet love, but felt annoyed as a friend. "So if Kim Do-hyun approaches you, just ignore him. If he says anything, don't respond. If you run into him, come to me, and I'll erase his scent." Junwoo replied, "You don't have to do that. I don't know why he's doing this, but maybe he'll stop." Taegon gritted his teeth. "You really don't know? He's testing if you're an omega. But if he likes you, he should confess, not leave his pheromones all over you." Junwoo sighed. "How would I know? I'm not an omega." Junwoo didn't have the courage to apologize, while Taegon, feeling wronged, joined a traditional English literature club. Sung-ri persistently asked Junwoo to join, saying, "Help me out. We have no members." Freshmen said they'll join if you do. Junwoo hesitated. "Who said that?" "Kim Do-hyun. He seems to like you. Lots of people like you," Sung-ri said. Junwoo decided to join after some coaxing. Sung-ri hugged him. "You're the best. But we still need one more member. Do you think Choi Taegon would join?" Sung-ri asked. Hearing Taegon's name, Junwoo froze. "I don't think he's interested in this kind of thing." Sung-ri, however, excitedly suggested, "Let's have a welcome party." Junwoo laughed. "For imaginary members?" Sung-ri insisted, "Of course. You're coming, right?" Joining the same club as Do-hyun might upset Taegon, but Junwoo felt he hadn't done anything wrong. At 7 p.m., Junwoo joined the club members, surprised to see Taegon in the distance. Sung-ri noticed, "Isn't that Choi Taegon?" Do-hyun nudged Junwoo. "Aren't you going to greet him?" "Pretend you didn't see him," Junwoo replied. Sung-ri whispered, "Did you guys fight?" "Make up already." "No, we didn't fight," Junwoo denied. Sung-ri grabbed his arm. "I have an idea. Invite Taegon to drink with us." "He won't come," Junwoo said, but Sung-ri ran over to Taegon anyway. Junwoo was confused. "I'm going crazy." On the other side, Sung-ri was waving his hands to invite Tae-jim. Junwoo covered his face, and the people around him were gossiping. "What? Is Tae-jim coming with us too? Song Jae-hyung is inviting him." Junwoo was sweating, thinking, Choi Tae-jim doesn't like places like this. Someone who doesn't have the ability to get along with others wouldn't participate in activities with strangers. Moreover, I didn't apologize, so he must still be angry. Do-hyun said, "They're going together." The scent of pheromones wafted through the air. Junwoo stood in front of Tae-jim, bewildered, thinking, "What are you thinking about?" Junwoo stood watching the girl next to him playing a game. He curiously asked, "Is it fun?" The girl replied that it was okay, then invited him to play. He smiled and refused. He glanced at Tae-jim and thought to himself, Tae-jim is really good at games like this. Suddenly Tae-jim stared at him, making Junwoo startled. He quickly turned to the girl from earlier. She had also stopped playing the game and asked him, "Why did you agree to join the club?" Junwoo replied, "Park Song-jae kept asking me. I'm only on the list, but I don't participate in the activities." The girl said again, "You're really sensitive. You can't be cold to others." Suddenly, Tae-jim interrupted the girl. He put his arm around Junwoo's shoulder. "How long are you going to avoid me?" Then he reached out and pinched Junwoo's cheek. "How long have I known you?" The two held hands and forgot about the past. "Let's drink to our club," Sung-ri shouted, lifting his glass. Junwoo asked Taegon, "Didn't you have plans?" "I canceled," Taegon shrugged. Do-hyun, slightly drunk, asked Junwoo for water. "Don't drink too much," Junwoo warned. Taegon, annoyed, muttered, "Can't you handle this yourself?" Do-hyun drank the water and asked, "Aren't you drinking?" "I don't like alcohol," Junwoo replied. "But you should play games with us," Do-hyun insisted, touching Junwoo's arm. Taegon quickly intervened, "Let's play. We should all have fun together." Junwoo felt uneasy but followed Taegon's lead. He noticed Taegon looking at him intensely and felt his heart race. Their complicated feelings intertwined, and Junwoo's heart pounded as he felt Taegon's warmth. Runwoo gently pulled Taegon's shirt. "You don't have to do that." Taegon turned around and smiled. "I want to play." Sung-rae excitedly directed the game. After that, everyone joined in happily. For the first time, Do-hyun lost to Taegon, and Taegon cheerfully said, "Drink up." Junwoo noticed that Taegon seemed to be targeting Do-hyun. Do-hyun and Taegon took turns drinking the most among the group. Junwoo worriedly said, "You should drink moderately." Peekum took the opportunity to lean on Junwoo's shoulder. "I think I'm drunk already." Junwoo rubbed his face. "Are you alright?" Taegon replied, "Yeah, but I don't feel great. Seems like I might throw up soon." "Do you want to go to the bathroom?" "No, I don't want to," Do-hyun asked. Taegon teased, "So, are you going to help me go to the bathroom?" Taegon pressed Junwoo's hand against his face and rubbed his face against Junwoo's hand, enjoying the coolness. "So nice." Do-hyun spoke up, "It seems like you're really drunk. You should probably head home now." Taegon glanced at Do-hyun. Junwoo said, "I'll take you home and then go back." Suddenly, Taegon released a pheromone and clung to Junwoo. "Take me home. Let's go home." Junwoo was startled by Taegon's pheromone. "Alright, just wait a moment." Taegon leaned his head on Junwoo's shoulder and rubbed against him. Junwoo feared he wouldn't be able to control himself like last time. He tried to push Taegon away. "Get a hold of yourself." However, Taegon wrapped his arms around Junwoo, hugging him tightly and calling, "Junwoo." Junwoo was reaching his limit. He pushed Taegon away. Wait here for a moment. I'll go have a cigarette and come back right away. Then he quickly left and rummaged for his cigarettes in his pocket. After smoking, Jun-woo calmed down a bit, recalling Tae-gam's drunken state. He feared he might not be able to control himself when helping Tae-gam back. Just then, Do-hyun entered the smoking area. Jun-woo asked, "Are you smoking? If you're uncomfortable, I can step outside." "It's fine," Do-hyun said, approaching with a smile. "Can I have a light?" Run-woo handed him a lighter. Do-hyun took it, lit his cigarette, and smoked expertly. Then he asked, "What's Tae-gam's alcohol tolerance like?" "I don't know," Jun-woo replied. Do-hyun mumbled, "He probably isn't the type to be easily drunk." Jun-woo didn't hear clearly. Do-hyun continued, "Is it all right for you to take him home alone?" Jun-woo smiled. "It's better than carrying a drunk Baek Sung-gi." Do-hyun asked, "Does Tae-gam really not know you're an Omega?" Jun-woo was surprised and stood still. Do-hyun, still calm, said, "I thought he was pretending not to know. Who would have thought he really doesn't know?" Jun-woo tried to stay calm and asked, "What are you talking about?" Do-hyun smiled brightly. "The thing is, you're an Omega, and Tae-gam doesn't know this. That's why you're smoking, right?" At this point, Jun-woo couldn't stay calm anymore. His hands trembled. "Why do you think that?" Do-hyun replied, "It's so obvious." Jun-woo slumped into a chair, looking dazed. Seeing this, Do-hyun awkwardly reassured him, "I was just making an educated guess. I'm sorry for causing you distress." Jun-woo's face turned pale. He cursed the annoying guy silently. Do-hyun hurriedly explained, "I'm sensitive to scents. At first, I thought the pleasant scent coming from you was perfume because your pheromone is faint, but then I noticed you kept doing strange things to confirm, so I released some pheromones. At that time, you ignored it and didn't react, so I thought you weren't an Omega. But when Tae-gam came, you reacted, so I was sure you are an Omega." Do-hyun leaned against the door and continued, "Also, the timing of your smoking was strange, like you were trying to cover up the pheromone scent." Run-woo stood up and extinguished his cigarette. "You're very perceptive. As you said, I am an Omega and Choi Tae-gam doesn't know. So what?" Jun-woo took out another cigarette and lit it. "What's the reason you're telling me this?" "I'm not asking for anything. I'm just curious. Why are you pretending to be a beta? Tae-gam hates Omegas, and I like Choi Tae-gam. Isn't that obvious? So why don't you confess since you lack the courage?" Run-woo's hands trembled again. Do-hyun asked, "Don't you want me to keep it a secret?" Run-woo used his other hand to hold the trembling arm. "If I told you, what would you do? You'd know what to do on your own. It's better to be discovered than to hide it." "Why does Choi Tae-gam hate Omegas so much?" Jun-woo suddenly asked. "Do you like Tae-gam?" Do-hyun was startled and stood up straight. "What are you talking about? How did you come to that conclusion?" Run-woo awkwardly scratched his head. "If not, then what?" Do-hyun admitted he hates Tae-gam. He then added, "It would be more reasonable if you asked me if I like you." "I didn't want to ask that," Jun-woo said. "Why not?" "Because if you said no, I'd be embarrassed. And if you said yes, it would be even more embarrassing." Jun-woo threw the cigarette into the trash can. "Do you have anything else to say? If not, I'll take Tae-gam home." Do-hyun said, "Tae-gam isn't really drunk." Jun-woo was puzzled. Does this guy have vision problems? But he's obviously drunk. "I won't tell anyone you're an Omega, and I won't threaten you. I'm just telling you." Do-hyun hesitated, making Jun-woo feel uneasy. He feared he would regret it. After hearing the rest, Do-hyun stepped forward and looked Jun-woo straight in the eye. "Compared to someone who doesn't know you're an Omega, isn't it better for me to be honest with you? I'm not sure if what I feel is love, but can't we take time to understand each other?" Run-woo was silent, then said, "Sorry, I can't do that because, as I said, I like Choi Tae-gam, and also we've just met for a short time. You must like me. I'm not the only issue. You don't know anything about me." Do-hyun smiled and said, That's why we should get to know each other. If we knew everything about each other from the beginning, what's the fun in dating? Junwoo used his hand to block Do-hyun. Then you should get to know someone you can understand each other. Isn't it more appropriate for you to find someone your own age? You're so conservative, Junwoo said before leaving. Also, I don't like people younger than me. Junwoo returned to Taegam. Are you sober yet? Taegam pouted. Why did you take so long? Runwoo brushed a few strands of Taegam's bangs. Sorry. I was talking with Kim Do-hyun. Taegam grabbed Runwoo's hand and placed it on his face. Then asked, what were you talking about? Just trivial things. Runwoo touched Taegam's forehead. You're hot. Let me put on your jacket. Then he turned to the younger ones. Taegam kept urging to go home and clung to Runwoo. As they were leaving the place, they saw Do-hyun. Junwoo forced a smile. You should also drink moderately and go home. Taegam glared at Do-hyun and released pheromones to warn him. Runwoo was startled. I don't know why Taegam is so wary of Do-hyun. Do-hyun bowed, then turned to smile at Junwoo and said, what I said earlier was sincere. Take your time and think about it, Taegon said, looking at Do-hyun with a menacing glare, his hand unconsciously gripping Runwoo's shoulder. It wasn't until Runwoo patted Taegon's hand that he let go. I'm sorry, Taegon said, then hugged Runwoo tightly, his face buried in Runwoo's neck, inhaling his scent. You smell so good, Run, he murmured. Runwoo's heart pounded as Taegon claimed he felt dizzy and couldn't take a taxi home. Let me stay over for the night, he whispered into Junwoo's ear. Unable to refuse, Junwoo reluctantly agreed. Fine, let's go to my place. Once they arrived, Taegon obediently sat on the bed, while Junwoo fetched clothes for him. Taegon glanced around the room, taking in his surroundings. Here, wear this after you shower, Junwoo said, handing him some clothes. Taegon sniffed them and commented, this scent is everywhere. Isn't it? Confused, Junwoo asked, it's a nice smell. Isn't it? Isn't it the fabric softener? Yes, it is, Taegon replied, before Junwoo cut him off, urging him to hurry and shower. Go on quickly. Do you need help? Surprised, Taegon turned and asked, what did you say? Junwoo explained, you're drunk. If you slip and fall or fall asleep in there. Okay, I'll be fine, Taegon reassured him, closing the bathroom door. Runwoo sighed in relief, quickly hiding his pheromone suppressants. He was glad Taegon mistook his pheronol for fabric softener. Junwoo opened the windows, worried about sharing a bed with Taegon and whether he could control his own pheromones. When Taegon emerged from the shower, wearing only pants, his chiseled abs on display, Junwoo blushed furiously and rushed into the bathroom. I'm gonna shower now. You go ahead and sleep first, he called out. Taegon's pheromones filled the room, making Junwoo's heart race. Can't find a place to sleep? Taegon asked, lying on the bed. Just sleep here on the bed, he said, patting the spot next to him. Realizing he was being too forward, Junwoo cleared his throat and said, it's fine. I'll dry my hair first. Taegon reminisced, smiling. Come on. It's been a while since we slept together. Reluctantly, Junwoo lay down on the bed, facing Taegon. Are you still drunk? He asked. A bit dizzy, Taegon admitted. Junwoo moved closer, gently patting Taegon's chest. You'll have a headache tomorrow. Good night, Junwoo, Taegon whispered, smiling. Good night, Junwoo replied, watching Taegon fall asleep. Taegon looked as cute as he did when they were kids. After a while, Junwoo began talking to himself. I've been confessed to. Do-hyun said he likes me, but I turned him down, saying I already have someone I like. Out of nowhere, Taegon opened his eyes and interrupted. He told you to take your time to think about it, right? Junwoo, startled, apologized. Sorry, I woke you up. Ignoring Junwoo's apology, Taegon asked, did Kim Do-hyun confess to you? He said he was interested but not in a definite way. Junwoo's heart pounded as Taegon's pheromones filled the air. Why did he release his pheromones? Is it because of jealousy? Closing his eyes, Taegon replied, he confessed. But let's just sleep now. Junwoo turned and asked, is that all you have to say about me being confessed to? What else should I say? We're friends. It's not my place to be that concerned. Junwoo fell silent, then said, so even if I date someone, you wouldn't care, right? Taegon suddenly leaned in close, their faces inches apart. Close your eyes. Nervously, Junwoo obeyed, thinking Taegon might kiss him. But Taegon only pressed his forehead against Junwoo's. Stop saying silly things. Go to sleep. Junwoo clutched his pillow, his face burning with embarrassment. Took a long time for him to fall asleep. In his dreams, he saw a younger Taegon, who was beautiful, small, and delicate. He reached out to touch Taegon's face when the present Taegon suddenly woke up, whispering, Junwoo's asleep. Taegon softly caressed Junwoo's face and touched his lips, saying, you'll never know how I feel. He then stole a gentle kiss, warm and moist, making Junwoo murmur in his sleep. Though Junwoo felt the kiss, he thought it was part of his dream and didn't want to wake up. In his subconscious, Junwoo emitted a faint pheromone scent. Despite his desire to continue dreaming, Taegon ended the kiss, whispering, good night. The next morning, Junwoo awoke to Taegon's voice. Junwoo, wake up. Opening his eyes, Junwoo saw Taegon smiling. Wake up already. How long are you going to sleep? Junwoo blushed, realizing he had been sleeping on Taegon's arm. I'm awake now. Taegon laughed. You sleep so soundly. If someone tried to kidnap you, you'd never know. Embarrassed? Junwoo replied, is that so? Just then, Junwoo received a call from an unknown number. It was Kim Do-hyun. How did you get my number? As Junwoo spoke to Do-hyun, Taegon rested his head on Junwoo's shoulder, saying he was hungry. Flustered, Junwoo whispered, not now. Taegon turned, touching Junwoo's hair. Your hair's getting long. Blushing, Junwoo stared at Taegon, forgetting about the phone call. Do-hyun impatiently asked, Senior, can you hear me? I'm listening, Junwoo replied. But in reality, he wasn't listening to anything at all because he was captivated by Taegon's smiling face. Suddenly, Taegon and Do-hyun asked in unison, Kim Do-hyun, is Senior Choi Taegon beside you? Hearing the answer, Taegon uncomfortably sat up, while Do-hyun was worried about Junwoo taking a drunk alpha home. Junwoo said, it's nothing. I'm turning off the phone now. Do-hyun's voice was interrupted, and Taegon turned to ask, what's the call about? Just asking if you got home safely yesterday, Do-hyun answered. Taegon asked, is that all? Was that it? Was he only calling to ask that? Junwoo was confused about why he was getting a strong reaction now when he didn't respond to a confession earlier. Junwoo replied, he said he was worried because you were so drunk, asking if something happened. How ridiculous. What could have happened? As if I were an Omega. Taegon suddenly released Fair Cameron. Don't say that. You're definitely not an Omega. Junwoo looked back at Taegon. Yeah, how could I be an Omega? Taegon gritted his teeth and continued, Lee Junwoo, if you were an Omega, that bastard would bother you even more. He's already like this because you're a beta. It would be even worse if you were an Omega. Junwoo noticed that Taegon was concerned about his relationship with Do-hyun, and he sighed in relief, saying, I'm glad you're not an Omega. He knew what alphas might do because of pheromones and could see that Taegon was uncomfortable, holding his face. It was clear that Taegon was remembering the emotional distress. Junwoo opened his arms. Come here, Taegon. I'm sorry. I spoke without thinking. I won't mention being an omega anymore. I'm sorry. Taegam nuzzled against Runwoo. You don't need to apologize. Just don't meet Kim Do-hyun anymore. I wasn't planning to meet him again. Taegam wrapped his arms around Junwoo's waist. Remember your promise. Don't make me worry. Junwoo smiled. What are you worried about? I'm a beta. I don't have any pheromones. The only thing Junwoo could do was to try to hide his pheromones and his feelings for Taegam. After Taegam left, Junwoo's room was still filled with Taegam's fair Cameron scent. He lay on the bed, holding onto the clothes that Taegam had worn, breathing in the lingering scent. He had controlled himself for 12 long hours, almost like an omega. But now that Taegam wasn't there, Junwoo didn't need to restrain himself anymore. He inhaled Taegam's fair Cameron scent. Today, Sungda was dressed up, with styled hair and meticulous grooming. Boasting to Junwoo about going on a date with Alpha Lang, Junwoo felt unwell, probably catching a cold. As a beta who couldn't smell pheronol, he was intrigued by it. He wasn't curious about Senior Choi Taegam's pheromones, but if he could sense pheronol, it would be quite awkward among friends. Pheromones only caused trouble. When the heat came, it would affect daily life. Teacher Junwoo was well-versed in Fair Cameron Sung's comments, which Junwoo knew all too well. Junwoo was startled, but then Sung re-winked and continued. Indeed, you're friends with Alpha. The teacher had entered the classroom, but Sungda kept talking and even wanted to introduce some people to Junwoo for a date. Junwoo replied calmly, I already have someone I like. Zucker Sungda, surprised, shouted loudly in the middle of the class, startling everyone around with his loud voice. As a result, he was called out by the teacher, but his gossiping nature couldn't be helped. Sung Dewey turned to ask quietly, who is it? How old? Male or female? Beta or other gender? Rumyu was dejected and didn't want to answer. Sungda continued to plead, wanting to know the person's age only, promising not to bother anymore. Junwoo pulled up his mask and said they were the same age. Now focusing on the lesson, Sungda continued to ramble about the same age. But Junwoo didn't have friends, and Sungda was threatened to leave the club if he kept being nosy. After the class, Junwoo and Sungda went to the juniors' club office. Seeing Junwoo, they asked about his relationship with Taegam, as many people were curious after the drinking party. Junwoo didn't answer, only smiling and saying, it seems Choi Taegam is quite famous. While everyone was about to order food, Taegam texted Junwoo inviting him to eat together. Junwoo replied that he planned to eat with the club members. Junwoo suddenly felt something strange in his body. He was more sensitive than usual. Many people sensed Kim Do-hyun's fair Cameron in the club room. Although he had already left, Junwoo pulled up his mask, feeling symptoms like a fever and sensitivity. Fair Cameron was intense during the heat period, but Junwoo's heat had not yet arrived. Junwoo searched for suppressants to take. As a submerged omega, his heat came once every 4 months. But if it was happening, suppressants and medication could still help him endure. Taegam texted back asking if there were any Kim Do-hyro in the club. Just after sending the message, Taegam called Junwoo. Junwoo went outside to take the call and heard Taegam's voice sounding a bit strange. Taegam asked, what's wrong? Junwoo replied, I'm wearing a mask, but I've taken it off now. I just have a slight cold. Taegam asked, have you taken medicine? Probably not, right? Well, you're not going to the hospital, are you? We're ordering food for lunch, so wait until people come out. Taegam suddenly asked, do you smoke? Junwoo was startled. Taegam, annoyed by Junwoo's stubbornness to rest and go to the hospital, said, I'll go buy medicine for you. What kind of club is it? A while later, Taegam brought the medicine to the club for Junwoo, who was then pulled into joining the classical English literature club by Sungda. Junwoo was sure Taegam wouldn't join, but unexpectedly, Taegam agreed to join the club. Why are you suddenly acting crazy? You hate literature so much, Junwoo asked. Taegam calmly replied, I'm not crazy. Jun-woo remained suspicious, staring at Tae-gom, who was excited and teary-eyed. You can't back out now. Tae-gom smiled and answered, of course, with friends and juniors. It's just a matter of filling out the form. Jun-woo asked again, think carefully. Even as a virtual member, you still have to do some tasks. Tae-gom responded, I can do it. Do-hyun felt Tae-gom was being childish. Jun-woo worried that Sung-da might drag Tae-gom into drinking. He was uncomfortable around strangers. Not that he disliked them, but he just didn't like meeting many people. It's all people I don't know, Sung-da said. But you know me, Jun-woo replied shyly. Jun-woo thought that joining the club was because of him. Hill, who had been silent, finally spoke up. Will you join? Tae-gom had previously said he couldn't handle classical English literature and business studies. I won't give up, Tae-gom replied with a smile. Because I like the great writer Shakespeare. Jun-woo sat in the middle, helpless with both of them. Suddenly, Jun-woo felt dizzy, his head spinning as the pheromones in the air gradually affected him. His body had never reacted to such a small amount of pheronol. Tae-gom and Do-hyun were both worried and asked about him. Tae-gom touched Jun-woo's face and asked, Jun-woo, why are you so hot? Are you okay? Jun-woo realized his heat had started, and he stood up abruptly. I'm fine. I'll go outside for a while. Tae-gom grabbed his hand. No, you're burning up. Everyone else was also very worried. They asked Han if they should call an ambulance. Seeing Jun-woo sway, Tae-gom immediately stood up and supported him. Do-hyun suddenly pushed Tae-gom away and helped Jun-woo lean on him. Tae-gom, angry, released Fair Cameron to warn, what are you doing? Can't you see he's in pain? Alpha pheromones worsened Jun-woo's condition. He trembled, breathing heavily, sensitive to the smell. Do-hyun leaned down and whispered, your Fair Cameron is showing. Meanwhile, Do-hyun also released Fair Cameron to mask Jun-woo's Fair Cameron. Jun-woo was startled, fearing people would see him in such a state. His efforts seemed pointless. At this moment, Tae-gom shouted to everyone, call an ambulance now. However, Jun-woo stopped him, no need for an ambulance. I'll go to the hospital. Jun-woo continued, you can take me. I'll rely on you. Do-hyun and Tae-gom stood awkwardly, speechless. The doctor confirmed, it's indeed the heat period. Jun-woo said, I've never experienced this before. I'm overly sensitive to alpha pheromones and losing my composure. However, the female doctor said what Jun-woo described were common symptoms of the heat period. Jun-woo's case was mild, so his heat was weaker than others. But currently, his pheromone levels had suddenly spiked. Could there be a dominant alpha around you? The female doctor asked. Jun-woo nodded, yes, there are two. The female doctor was surprised. Being exposed to alpha Fair Cameron increased your heat cycle. What is your heat cycle like? About every 4 months, Jun-woo said. The doctor was surprised. For months? How can the heat cycle be like this? Since I take suppressants daily, twice a day. The female doctor was alarmed. What? That's a big issue. Suppressants are used in emergencies to prevent heat, but eventually, it will be unavoidable, especially with a dominant alpha. The doctor asked if Jun-woo had ever been with an alpha. Jun-woo mumbled, no. The doctor advised Jun-woo not to endure it and to be with his partner due to the cold nature, with no risk of pregnancy. But if worried, use contraception. Don't abuse suppressants and stay home for a week to release the pheronol. Finally, the doctor would inject a hormone to release accumulated pheronol. Therefore, someone must escort him home as he couldn't control his Fair Cameron for about 2 hours. After the examination, Jun-woo waited for Rahyun to inquire about the results. However, Jun-woo was preoccupied with checking Tae-gom's messages. Tae-gom texted, call me when you see this. I'll wait for you in front of your house. Jun-woo felt guilty. Tae-gom had worried and brought medicine, but now it turned out like this. Not receiving a reply, Do-hyun pouted, are you concerned about Senior Choi Tae-gom? At this point, Jun-woo realized Do-hyun was in front of him, put away his phone, and apologized to Do-hyun. Do-hyun continued, even though I'm not expecting any thanks or anything. Junwoo awkwardly smiled and said, sorry, I was in a hurry so I didn't think things through. Thanks for everything. If you hadn't pretended not to know and helped me get here, it would have been a mess. Do-hyun inquired about the medical checkup, and Junwoo relayed the doctor's advice to him. After hearing this, Do-hyun asked, are you hiding that you're an Omega? Is there any reason you went to such lengths? I really don't understand. I haven't known you for long, but I've seen many confusing things about you. I understand that you might be afraid of Senior Choi Tae-gum hating you because he dislikes Omegas. But why are you hiding the fact that you're an Omega? If you're not going to confess your feelings, then what's the point of hiding it? If it were me, I'd have to say one of those things. Junwoo spoke up, I have something to say. I hide being an Omega because I'm afraid of being hated, and I don't want to confess because I'm afraid of rejection. Junwoo had been thinking about this for 5 years. Because I didn't want to be hated and didn't want to be rejected, I gave up on love. Isn't that selfish of me? Junwoo clenched the handrail. Since I was born, I've been friends with Tae-gum. I wanted to stay friends like before, but now that I like him, what should I do? Give up on these feelings? It's easy for you to say. I've avoided him for 5 years but still ended up liking him. The medication is starting to take effect. My pheromones are unconsciously spreading. Do you think I'm hiding being an Omega just out of fear of being hated? Why does Tae-gum hate Omegas? Why should I tell him? I'm a beta? Why should I hide being an Omega? You still don't understand anything. If you don't understand, then just stop being nosy, Do-hyun said, his face turning red as he stammered, Senior, first of all, do something about your pheromones. Junwoo awkwardly explained, it's not like that. It's because I took the medication that it seems like this. I'll leave quickly. Do-hyun grabbed Junwoo's arm, saying it was dangerous to go home now. Junwoo pulled his arm away, insisting he wanted to go home. Is it because of Senior Tae-gum? Do-hyun asked. If you want to tell him you're an Omega, then just do it. Do you want to meet him with your pheromones? I'll take you home. Call him, say you're going back today, and arrange to meet him tomorrow. Do-hyun's suggestion was the best, but Junwoo kept thinking about Tae-gum's worried face. In the end, Junwoo decided to go home on his own. He thanked Do-hyun and turned to leave. Although the doctor advised against smoking, Junwoo smoked on the way back to mask the fair Cameron scent. By the time he got home, his pheromones fortunately stabilized. However, he now worried that the smell of cigarettes might bother Do-hyun. Tae-gum was standing in front of his apartment, focused on something on his phone. Seeing him, Tae-gum asked anxiously, why did you go alone? Why didn't Kim Do-hyun take you home? You just came back from the hospital. Why do you smell like cigarettes? What did they say at the hospital? Junwoo said, I need to talk to you. They both went inside. Junwoo placed the medical documents on the kitchen counter and then sat on the bed. Tae-gum asked, what do you want to talk about? No, let's first talk about what happened at the hospital, Tae-gum said. What serious illness did you have? Junwoo smiled awkwardly. It's not a disease. I wanted to tell you I'm an Omega, but I couldn't bring myself to say it. Knowing that Junwoo was okay, Tae-gum sighed in relief. I was really worried. You used to get seriously ill before. Back in high school, you even fainted once. Seeing Do-hyun's worried expression, Junwoo felt extremely guilty. He felt he needed to confess as he had gone too far. Tae-gum, I'm an Omega, Junwoo said. Tae-gum looked up at him in shock. Junwoo continued, I'm not sick. It's just that I'm in heat. I was too insecure to confess, so I kept it hidden. You also have thoughts of confessing your feelings, but first you need to address the fact that I'm an Omega, which you hate so much. Tae-gum looked directly at him. Junwoo said, sorry. I'm sorry. Tae-gum still couldn't believe it. He went straight to the kitchen counter to check the prescription. After confirming it with his own eyes, Tae-gum asked, When did this start? During our college entrance exams. Junwoo answered, since I've been around you, when I slept with you, I never once felt your pheromones. How did you manage that? It's because I'm a latent omega. During my heat cycle, I take suppressants and smoke to hide it. Besides my parents, no one else knows. Gom crumpled the paper in his hand, releasing pheromones, and angrily asked, and Kim Do-hyun, does he know, right? You turned me into a joke. I worried about you being sick, called and waited in front of your house for everything. That guy knew you were in heat and still helped you while I didn't know anything and released pheromones. Is this all I am to you? A useless friend. Junwoo felt a sharp pain in his heart. It's not that I hid it because I enjoyed doing so. I struggled too. It's not you who is laughable but me. Taking suppressants and smoking pheromones to pretend to be a beta is what's laughable, Junwoo said, clenching his fists. You only cared about me lying instead of showing concern. Why should I hide it? Did you ever think about how hard it was for me over the past 5 years? Then you should have told me beforehand. When I told you the truth, you were relieved that I wasn't an omega. No, I didn't know you were in heat and kept releasing pheromones. Or at least you should have told me when Kim Do-hyun knew, Junwoo said with a bitter smile. Would it change anything if I said it? What should I say to a disgusting omega like you? If I were an omega, maybe you wouldn't be friends with me. What difference would it make if I said it before? Oh, there is one difference. We would become strangers, Torm Yoon-dun said. It seems you don't understand why I'm angry. I'm angry because you hid it from me, not because you're an omega. I've known you for a lifetime. Do you think I'd hate you just because you're an omega? And that guy you just met? Don't you think he could do something to you? Junwoo was stunned. He had never considered this issue before. He had never seen Taegom's expression like that. Torm continued, you said you're a beta, so you don't need to worry about hiding Kim Do-hyun's pheromones. The mistake of thinking you were a beta is mine, but you're not at fault for hiding it from me. Are you now blaming me for my psychological obsession? Have you ever thought about how hellish it was for me? I don't know how many times I went to your house and came back disappointed. I was afraid you wouldn't like it, so I couldn't call, text, or do anything. I thought maybe we'd bump into each other at school, so I attended every school event. But you're an omega, and you kept avoiding me. Do you think I'm the only one who worries about you? Just me, a fool who worries about you. Junwoo was astonished. He never realized how tormenting and heavy the past 5 years had been for Taegom. Taegom turned around. I'm leaving now. I don't think I can stay any longer today. Junwoo immediately stood up and followed Taegom. Before leaving, Taegom instructed him not to go to school and to rest at home. You can't take suppressants, so don't go outside. If you're not feeling well, don't starve yourself. Take enough medication with you to take. Junwoo hesitated. Do you perhaps like me? Could be a misunderstanding. But I want to ask clearly to remove any doubts. Taegom turned around, sighed, and said, you're really only realizing this now? Junwoo stood where he was, wanting to hold on to Taegom. But when he gathered himself, Taegom was no longer there. Junwoo went through his heat alone. Everyone in the club sent messages inquiring about his condition. Do-hyun called repeatedly, while Taegom didn't call at all. A few days later, feeling better as his heat ended, Junwoo decided to go to school since there was a test. At school, Jonwoo and 2 juniors expressed their concern. Later, Min-don asked if something had happened between him and Kim Do-hyun. Junwoo was puzzled. Kim Do-hyun, there was nothing between us. Reflecting, there was indeed something at the hospital. Maybe he was bothering you because he was rejected? Of course not. He's not like that. As everyone looked at him, Junwoo was confused. He did confess. I didn't expect you to reject him so quickly. Sung-da chimed in. Kim Do-hyun confessed to you, and you rejected him? Why? I didn't know Do-hyun was standing at the end of the hallway and heard your voice all the way from there. I heard everyone talking about me. Then, Do Hee-hun came over and sat next to Junwoo. I'll sit here quietly, so just pretend I'm not here and talk among yourselves. I'm here to study. Junwoo noticed Do-hyun had lost weight. Noticing Junwoo's gaze, Do-hee said, I know I have a beautiful profile, but my face is a bit hollow now, so please stop looking. Sung-da continued, Did you really confess to Junwoo? Do-hee-hun sighed, I was rejected. It wasn't on the day Senior Junwoo was sick. I know to pay attention to timing and location. It wasn't me, Junwoo said. I guessed it. Do-hee glanced at Junwoo. I know. Junwoo's personality won't reveal such matters. He might even forget my confession. Then there was a moment of silence. Suddenly, Do-hyun turned to Junwoo and said, This is the first time I've confessed and been rejected. I'm tall, I'm an alpha, and except for being younger than you, I'm still handsome. Junwoo nodded in agreement. So why haven't you finished your sentence? Junwoo interrupted. I've known Choi Tae-gam since childhood. He's also handsome, tall, and an alpha. So, study hard and focus on your studies. Hyun reluctantly accepted the reality. Sung-da added, You're really rude. Everyone continued discussing enthusiastically. As for Lasado Hyun, he asked quietly, Junwoo, is your condition better now? Junwoo replied, I'm fine now, and I've already talked to Choi Tae-gam. I'm going to meet him today to confess. Just as you said. No matter what happens, it can't stay like this forever. So, disregard what I said earlier. Today, everything is genuine. Do-hyun remained silent and said nothing more. After finishing the test, Junwoo returned to the club room to rest. Tonight, everyone would gather for drinks, and someone would come to wake him up. Tae-gam is coming today too, Junwoo thought and fell asleep. In his dream, Junwoo saw Tae-gam. He said, Even though you're a latent omega, I still hate it. Just being near you gives me goosebumps. Fortunately, I can't feel your pheromones. Junwoo woke up with a start. His body was hot, breathing heavy, and his lower body was tense. This was clearly a sign of his heat cycle. Junwoo panted, clutching the bedsheet. He didn't have suppressants or pheromone-smelling cigarettes, so if someone came now, he would be discovered. Do-hyun called, and as he reached for the phone, it accidentally fell to the floor. After some struggle, he got out of bed. Do-hyun called, asking if he was in the club room and said he would come pick him up for the party. Junwoo panted, face red, and struggled to say, Help me go to the hospital. The club room door suddenly opened. Junwoo thought it was Kim Do-hyun. He shakily got up. This time, the heat was much worse than before, to the point where he wanted to pull Kim Do-hyun, who had just entered, onto the bed. No, it's Tae-gam, Junwoo realized as he gradually lost his senses. Tae-gam came over to check on him. What's wrong with you? At the same time, Do-hyun arrived and, realizing the pheromones in the room, stopped, covering his nose. Tae-gam took off his jacket and put it on Junwoo. It's okay. Breathe deeply, Tae-gam said, carrying Junwoo. Junwoo stood up. Do-hyun came over and asked, What are you doing? Taking him to his dorm, Tae-gam replied. Hyun still covered his nose but was flushed. Where to? To his dorm? Didn't you hate omegas? Is Junwoo in heat? Is he okay? Tae-gam paused, uncomfortable. Hey, watch your attitude. I've tolerated a lot, but there's a limit. If you can't stay calm because of Junwoo's pheromones, stop being arrogant. I'll take him home. Upon reaching Junwoo's dorm, Tae-gam put him on the bed. You can't take any suppressants now. Is there any other medication? Junwoo replied, No. Then we'll have to wait like this? Junwoo fumbled to take off his pants, but couldn't manage it due to his trembling hands. Then he felt a lot of pheromones gum tightly. I want to do it. Quickly. Seeing Junwoo being so urgent and proactive, Tae-gam asked, Lee Junwoo, have you ever been with an alpha before? Junwoo was taken aback. Who did you find? Someone like you. If you know, then hurry up, Junwoo urged. Taegam inadvertently emitted his victory pheromones and then kissed Junwoo's cheek. Sorry, but there's no going back from this. Absorbing all of Junwoo's pheromones. Junwoo sobbed. Please, Taegam, call my name. Junwoo woke up to find Taegam had cleaned up, showered, and prepared fresh clothes for him. After such an intense night, his body ached all over, but he felt much clearer-headed. Taegam left a note saying, "You should leave in the morning. I've prepared breakfast for you. There's also a lunchbox inside." Taegam had prepared a lunchbox for him with an apology note. Junwoo was embarrassed. What's there to apologize for? He remembered Taegam's confession from the night before. His face turned redder. He was already so in love, he didn't know what to do. He arrived at class early, and no one was around yet. He saw the scribbled name, Choi Taegam, from the previous day. His face flushed just remembering his name. At that moment, Do-hyun arrived at class. After greeting each other, Do-hyun glanced at the high collar Junwoo was wearing. "Aren't you hot? Wearing a high collar shirt in this weather?" Junwoo forced a smile. "Because you caught a cold," Do-hyun bluntly said. "Your face is showing everything." Junwoo replied awkwardly, "Why don't you pretend you don't know?" Suddenly, Do-hyun asked, "Senior Taegam, is he well endowed? If he is, it must be tiring, right?" "What are you saying? That's harassment," Junwoo said. "Is it okay if someone suddenly asks you something like that?" After finishing, Do-hyun nonchalantly added, "Mine's quite big." Junwoo was left speechless. "I don't know if he's being rude or just straightforward." Do-hyun said, "There's a rumor going around school about the mating season. Junwoo's heat cycle coincides with it, and people are talking about it outside." They laughed and joked. Taegam carried that omega and skipped school in the afternoon. What else would they do if they took the omega with them? The business department's godlike figure is also an alpha, and the rumor is that the omega is a senior from our department who didn't attend the freshman welcome party. The guy with the hat is Lee Junwoo. As they discussed Junwoo behind his back, they were caught by him and froze in fear. Junwoo thought the rumors were almost accurate. He then looked directly at the two juniors and said, "There's nothing to be proud of about winning the fifth version. Don't assume others are the same." The two juniors hurriedly apologized and left, running away without entering the classroom. Do-hyun asked, "I thought you would get angry? For what? I don't care about those rumors. Besides, what they say isn't entirely false. It feels terrible to lose control of your instincts." Do-hyun agreed with Junwoo. Junwoo smiled brightly and said, "I've been enduring it all this time. Do you remember when I took the medication but still emitted Fair Cameron? Of course. You have to endure it. Otherwise, it's a crime." Seeing Junwoo's pheromones, Do-hyun said, "Now you don't need to hide your pheromones anymore." Junwoo then went outside to smoke and asked for a type of drug he usually uses. Do-hyun handed him a pack of cigarettes, saying, "If you want to smoke all of these, go ahead. Remember to lend me your notes. Okay?" Sung-dae, taking it seriously, asked about the rumors. "Who is the godlike figure in the business department?" Junwoo replied, "It's Taegam. Besides him, who else could be Senior Choi Taegam's friend? But he's a beta. Things will happen anyway." Junwoo hesitated, about to explain the truth about being an omega when Sung-dae innocently said, "Maybe they misunderstood. You're just sick, so Senior Daha carried you. They mistakenly thought you were an omega and that you were in heat, which surprised me. There's also a rumor about you sleeping with Senior Choi Taegam. It's really over the top. You have someone you like, and it's unfortunate they misunderstood." Junwoo was embarrassed, his face flushed, and he lowered his head to the desk. Seeing Junwoo's reaction, Sung-dae was taken aback and then exclaimed, "Does that mean the person you like is Senior Choi Taegam?" Seeing Sung-dae's probing questions, Minjong spoke up, "Right now that doesn't matter. Junwoo, are you an omega?" Junwoo was a bit stunned but then admitted, Yes, it's my heat cycle. The doctor didn't allow me to use suppressants, so I had to skip class. I thought it was over, so I went to class again. But the heat came back suddenly, so I went home. Lin Dan asked, then why did you pretend to be a beta when Choi Tae-gam hates omegas? I didn't want him to hate me. I like him, Junwoo said. Mentioning this, he remembered. Eviston thought. Sung Dae's call startled him. Junwoo said he had to leave early due to some matters. Sung Dae, who was not concerned about Junwoo being an omega or beta, said, even if you're an omega, you're still you. Nothing changes. We're close, and that's what matters. Sung Dae confirmed, that's right. Thank you both. Junwoo, moved, replied, indeed. Thank you. After the exam, I'll treat you to a meal. Junwoo left the room and texted Tae-gam, saying he would wait at the main gate. However, as time passed, and after sending a few more messages with no response from Tae-gam, Junwoo wondered if he should call Tae-gam when he heard someone say, are you a friend of Tae-gam? The loud voice startled Junwoo, who turned to see the people who were with Tae-gam the previous day. Seeing him, they turned away in shock, worried about speaking too loudly. Junwoo walked straight to them and asked, have you seen Choi Tae-gam? They led him to Tae-gam's classroom. Since there was an exam today, Tae-gam hadn't come out yet. After thanking them and preparing to leave, the three of them kept following him and nudging each other. Junwoo noticed and stopped, asking, do you want to ask something? One of them hesitated and said, I want to ask this. I don't mean any harm. I'm just a bit curious. Does Tae-gam treat you well? Junwoo looked puzzled. The guy continued, this is the first time we've seen Tae-gam in a relationship, so we're curious about how he treats his partner. We're not even dating, Junwoo said, surprised. The three of them were very surprised, asking why they slept together if they weren't dating. Why do you think we're dating? They debated among themselves, wondering if it was one-sided love. To avoid embarrassment, all three of them smiled. Junwoo said, sorry, you seem to have misunderstood. I'm in my cycle right now. They started murmuring again. It's possible he's not an omega. Can you smell pheronol? He might be a beta. Junwoo admitted he was an omega, so his pheromones were faint. At that moment, Tae-gam came out of the exam. Junwoo immediately ran to stop him, and Tae-gam looked surprised. Junwoo said, let's talk for a bit. They walked together, and Tae-gam asked if Junwoo was okay, noting that his waist seemed to be in pain and he didn't look well. Junwoo said, I'm fine, and then asked, Tae-gam, why have you been avoiding me? Tae-gam expressed what was on his mind. His desire for Junwoo not to be an omega was due to his personal issues. Junwoo only ended up in bed with him because it was his heat period. Although Tae-gam was aware of this, he continued to work. An alpha-emitting pheromones can make an omega want to have S even before their heat cycle. This was quite terrifying. Tae-gam approached Junwoo and released pheromones, which meant that even if Junwoo didn't like him, he could still make him have S if he lost his mind like the previous day. Despite Junwoo's discomfort, Tae-gam could still force him to tears and cause him pain. So who was truly at a disadvantage here? Junwoo immediately tried to explain. What are you saying? Don't you think I like you? I've thought about it, but you're doing this just to protect me. That's how you've always been. I say something and you always do it. Tae-gam continued, and you don't refuse that obligation, do you? It's enough now. I feel very sorry. So don't do this anymore. Tae-gam turned and left. Junwoo called after him, I don't hate having S with you, and it's not an obligation. It's just that I was hesitating to confess my long-hidden feelings. However, Tae-gam interrupted, I'll sort things out. I'll give up on you. Junwoo was startled and asked, give up on me? Stop. I don't want to lose control because of your pheromones. I'm not confident that I can handle this with you anymore. I'm leaving now, Tae-gam said. Junwoo wanted to follow him, to keep him and tell him he liked him. But after thinking about it, Junwoo didn't know what would happen next. He stood there for a long time. Many days later, Jun-woo returned home. His parents kept calling but didn't answer. The house password had also been changed. Remembering the time he couldn't get into the house because of his parents changing the password, Taegam had brought him back to his house. He stood outside the house for a while when Taegam's mother saw him and came to inquire about her son. "Have they not let you in since you came back home after such a long time? Go to the house. Your parents are late today." Your father took Jun-woo to his house because he wasn't confident enough to face them. Taegam, feeling embarrassed, said, "I'll wait outside." "It's okay," Taegam's mother asked. "You haven't acted like this before. Did you two have a fight?" "Lately, Taegam has seemed quite withdrawn. So I thought you and he might have had a falling out." Taegam had given up on Jun-woo, but he himself wasn't happy. Finally, Jun-woo entered Taegam's house to wait for his parents. Taegam's mother, having to go out, instructed him to feel free to use the kitchen if he wanted anything to eat and to go to Taegam's room if he felt sleepy. Jun-woo saw a cute picture of Taegam with cherry blossoms. Not knowing when Taegam would return, Jun-woo was unsure whether to stay or leave the room while waiting for him. Since that day, he hadn't met Taegam. If they were to meet like this, it would surely be awkward. Finally, he decided to stay in the room. The room still looked the same as before. Jun-woo sat on the bed. The room was filled with Taegam's pheromones. Jun-woo lay on the bed, rubbing his face against the blanket to inhale Taegam's scent. Then he turned over, hugging the blanket tightly, burying his face in it, and inhaling the fragrance of Taegam. He fell asleep without realizing it. A while later, he woke up and saw Taegam sitting next to him, gently stroking his hair. It was already 5 o'clock. When he came home, it had only been an hour since Taegam arrived. He must have been so tired that he fell asleep for a long time. Taegam said, "Your parents called earlier, and I answered the phone. I've been here for a while." Jun-woo didn't know when Taegam had started sitting next to him, or what Taegam thought when he entered the room and saw him. How long had he been looking at him like that? Jun-woo, lost in thought, was asked by Taegam, "Are you going to sleep more?" "No," Jun-woo replied. Taegam said, "Didn't your aunt tell you I was here?" Jun-woo replied, "I didn't realize you were back. I thought I might have entered the wrong room." Taegam answered, "I saw you around 3 o'clock. Seeing Taegam now, Jun-woo thought it felt as though he had been sitting there since 3 o'clock. Taegam said, "Today, both families will have dinner together." Jun-woo asked, "So what will we do until then? Are you planning to stay here?" Taegam, feeling a bit embarrassed, turned his face away and said, "I'm not trying to get rid of you. It's just that I don't know what to do now." Jun-woo said, "I like you. Even so, will you still give up on me? I don't know how long this feeling will last. From the beginning, you had no reason to like me. It wasn't that I attracted you, but rather that you were drawn to my pheromones." Taegam said, "So don't say such things anymore." This left Jun-woo unsure of what to say next. Taegam said he would maintain their relationship. Jun-woo felt he had no right to refute this. He stood up to leave Taegam's room. "I'm going now. See you later." Jun-woo went to meet his juniors at the club that day, including Do-hyun. When Jun-woo said he would drink, Do-hyun was surprised and asked, "Didn't you say you don't drink?" Jun-woo explained, "I usually don't like it much, and when I'm drunk, I can't control my pheromones." Do-hyun advised, "Then don't drink. Even if you get drunk, we won't leave you." Everyone started having fun at the party. After a while, Sonker, who was already tipsy, asked Jun-woo, "Hey, drink more, will you? Or just get drunk?" Before Jun-woo could respond, Do-hyun snatched the drink from his hand. "Don't drink anymore." Do-hyun then drank the wine for Jun-woo, explaining that Jun-woo was upset about Taegam's rejection. Do-hyun said, "I was going to pretend not to know." Earlier, Junwoo had mentioned something about a senior. Was it Choi Tae-gam? Junwoo, drunk, nodded. Do-hyun sighed and asked, "What did he say?" Junwoo smiled and replied, "He said he would forget." "Why?" Do-hyun questioned, "Why didn't you ask him? It's clear he likes you. Isn't it clearer than the fact that you like him? Why are you surprised? Why don't you know?" Junwoo explained, "He said he hates seeing me distressed by pheromones and will give up in a month. Is that even possible? Can you forget someone you like in a month?" Junwoo stopped laughing and started crying. "So what did you say?" Do-hyun asked. Junwoo replied, "I hadn't had a chance to respond. He left right after saying that." Do-hyun thought about it and said, "It's fine to stay this way. At least the relationship won't be broken." Junwoo felt a bit better. Suddenly, Do-hyun slammed his beer mug down and said, "What's this? Are you two planning to never meet anyone else? Isn't that love? What should we do? Does the senior even know how annoyed I am with him? Why doesn't he think of himself? He says he's confessing. But is that all?" Do-hyun then offered, "If you're not dating the senior, then date me. I'm serious about dating, not just casually." Junwoo asked, "Do-hyun, why do you like me?" Do-hyun, looking away, replied, "Why ask now? I'm going to smoke a cigarette. Are you coming with me?" Junwoo followed Do-hyun outside. Do-hyun recounted, "The first time I met you was last year at school. You even gave me a bottle of water." Junwoo was confused and asked, "I gave you water?" Do-hyun explained, "I didn't expect you to do that. I didn't remember it because of your demeanor. When I came for the school interview, I ran into you. After the morning interview, I was waiting for a friend outside the school and was very tired. There were people standing around smoking, and I was annoyed. You happened to walk by with those people. You smiled at them, and I just stared at you without thinking. Then you told them to stop smoking and go to the designated smoking area." Do-hyun threw his cigarette down, and Junwoo felt a bit embarrassed. "I see. So that's what happened." Do-hyun said, "At first, I only paid a little attention to you, never thinking I'd end up liking you so much." Do-hyun then said, "You haven't heard my answer yet. I like you. I was going to give up, but seeing you like this made me want to try again." Do-hyun held the back of Junwoo's neck and asked, "I know I'm not sure if I can be with him as an omega. If Tae-gam feels uncomfortable because of me, then it wouldn't be a good relationship." Hyun sighed and replied, "I don't know what happened with your senior, but that's not something you can decide. Choi Tae-gam says that he feels uncomfortable? Does he dislike being around you because you're an omega?" "No, this is just my issue," Junwoo said. Do-hyun stood up and said, "You keep saying that you're just friends. But friends don't sleep with each other. Once you've slept together, you can't just stay friends. Your concept of love might be outdated, but your view on S is pretty new." After Do-hyun's words, Junwoo sat there for a while, reflecting on what had been said. He then said, "Call Tae-gam. He's asleep. Is it still not clear?" His heart raced. Seeing that Junwoo was silent, Tae-gam asked, "Lee Junwoo, what's wrong?" Junwoo gathered his courage and said, "I miss you. I'm calling because I miss you. I miss you." Tae-gam asked, "Where are you now?" Junwoo curled up on the couch. After a while, Tae-gam arrived. Hearing the call, he looked up. Tae-gam, sweaty, said, "I've been looking for you for a while." Tae-gam approached and placed his hands on Junwoo's cheeks, and Junwoo's face turned red. "How much have you drunk?" "I didn't drink too much," Junwoo replied. Tae-gam took Junwoo's hand and pulled him up. "Come on. I'll take you home." Tae-gam didn't mention the events of the past month. Despite Junwoo's pheromones mixing into the air, Tae-gam managed to hide his feelings. The moonlight on his face stirred a strong desire in Junwoo. He wanted to take advantage of the situation. Junwoo held Tae-gam's hand and pulled him closer, unexpectedly kissing him. Tae-gam, surprised, let himself be drawn in. Junwoo embraced Tae-gam's face, kissing him passionately. Woo sat down on the couch, gently stroking up. I'll be looking forward to it. Taegam smiled and said, then look forward to it. Look forward to it like this. I hate being an omega. I'm afraid you'll find it inconvenient to be with me. It's really scary. Taegam smiled and said, how could I ever hate you? Even if you did anything, I wouldn't be able to hate you. It's not because of obligation, nor because we've been friends since high school. Even before I became an omega, I liked you. Junwoo tightened his grip on Taegam's hands and said, I like you, Taegam. I like you so much. So please don't give up. Can we not be just friends anymore? What do you think? Taegam immediately responded, I feel the same way. Under the glittering lights, they embraced each other and smiled brightly. Happiness with a new relationship. Taegam stayed over at Junwoo's place that night. He still couldn't believe the recent events. Junwoo being an omega, the two of them sleeping together, Junwoo liking him. Taegam, while stroking Junwoo's hair, told him he was afraid of being misunderstood. So Junwoo clarified that his feelings were not due to being drunk. Taegam asked Junwoo, why do you like me? Junwoo didn't answer but turned the question back. Taegam, do you remember what I said? If you were an omega, I would use pheromones to make you do what I wanted. Taegam, resting his head on Junwoo's shoulder, continued, I don't remember when it started. I just realized I liked you. If you knew how much I liked you, you might run away. Taegam hugged Junwoo's waist and continued, do you remember what I said? If you were an omega, I could use pheromones to make you follow my wishes. I don't want to see you cry. Junwoo turned his head, and Taegam continued, I wouldn't want you to think it's coercion. If I truly hated it, I would have stopped you. I don't mind you using pheromones on me from the beginning. If it were another alpha, I wouldn't have been so excited. If you want to release them, go ahead. If you want to force me to cry and cause me pain, try it. You wouldn't be able to. Junwoo smiled. Realizing that Taegam was gradually pulling back his pheromones, he reached out and touched his forehead. Taegam continued, that's why you're different from the others. That's why I like you. So, don't think like that anymore. It only tires you out. Taegam buried his face in Junwoo's neck, murmuring, it feels like I'm the one who's drunk. Why can't I control my emotions? Your scent is so sweet, and sometimes you smell like this. So it's the pheromones. But it was not the same for you. I'm going crazy because I like you so much. Taegam rubbed his nose against Runwoo's face. Junwoo suddenly pushed Taegam away gently and looked up. Taegam asked, what's wrong? Junwoo's face turned red, and he stammered, no, it's nothing. Then Runwoo stood up, holding his shirt at the bottom. I'm going to the bathroom for a bit. Taegam wrapped his arms around him from behind, seductively saying, Junwoo, let's do it. Taegam buried his face in Runwoo's neck, nibbling, and Runwoo, scared that he might leave marks, said, I can't wear you too. I also like you. Taegam helped Junwoo bathe. Runwoo shyly said. Taegam pulled Runwoo to lie down with him classes the next day and could sleep in. Runwoo nuzzled his head into Taegam's chest. Oh, weren't you also in the club? I completely forgot. Is it because you like that great writer that you joined? Taegam said, I do like him, but it's because I like you. Runwoo sat up, asking, Taegam, are you really planning to forget about it for the next month? No, I'm just pretending to forget. It's already quite obvious that I can't forget. I'm sorry for saying it so late. About me being an omega and liking you. Taegam hugged Runwoo tightly. Even if you said it, I still couldn't believe it. All the moments that remain in Taegam's memory are filled with Lee Junwoo. Even before Taegam transformed into an alpha, Junwoo had already become the only existence for him. Junwoo was a child who attracted everyone's attention. His calm demeanor, unlike other children, and his kindness made many people fond of him. Taegam had Junwoo in his heart from some unknown time. At first, he often thought about him, then remembered his smile, and finally began to feel jealous whenever Junwoo was with someone else instead of him. But fortunately, the only person Junwoo cared about was Tae-gom, and he didn't hate that attention at all. On the contrary, he liked it more and more. In the end, those feelings grew stronger, and they could no longer be hidden under the guise of friendship. He wished such peaceful days would never be disrupted. However, not long after, Tae-gom woke up from a dream about Lee Junwoo with a wet lower half and discovered that he was an alpha. The doctor said he had a rare dominant gene and advised him to take a break from school if he entered the heat period. However, sometimes unexpected things happen. On the first day Tae-gom could control his pheromones, Junwoo visited him with a worried face. Junwoo came every day, but today, seeing that Tae-gom was better, he entered the room to visit him. Runwoo placed his hand on Tae-gom's forehead to check his temperature after the transformation into an alpha. So, is there anything different after becoming an alpha? Junwoo is Tae-gom's first love, the person who makes his feelings go haywire every time they make eye contact, causing his pheromones to be released at any moment. Tae-gom pressed Junwoo's hand to his cheek and said softly, "I'm in a lot of pain. You've had a hard time." Runwoo warmly embraced Tae-gom, soothing his uncontrollable pheromones. The room was filled with Tae-gom and Runwoo. His mother saw Runwoo enveloped in her son's pheromones and scolded him, saying that if Lee Junwoo was an omega, it would be disastrous. Ironically, hearing this, Tae-gom wished Junwoo was an omega. After that, Tae-gom began to avoid Junwoo. Even though he knew it hurt Runwoo, he had no other choice. Whenever he thought of Lee Junwoo, his pheromones would release. It didn't affect Runwoo, but it did affect other omegas he couldn't forget. That day, Junwoo opened the bathroom door, looked straight at him with a worried face, and the warm hug and reassuring words saved him. Even in this situation, Tae-gom still selfishly released pheromones. Because he liked Junwoo so much, he wanted to leave a mark on him. He couldn't suppress his desire that day. He felt relieved that Junwoo was a beta. At that time, he said he didn't like omegas, really hated them. It was good that Junwoo was a beta. Now, Tae-gom feels that he shouldn't have said that. Tae-gom woke up earlier, lying next to Runwoo, and stroked his hair. Later, Junwoo also woke up and snuggled into his arms. Tae-gom then got up and said, "I like you. I wanted to say this right after waking up. So don't be anxious anymore. Okay?" After saying this, Runwoo kissed Tae-gom's cheek. Early in the morning, Tae-gom pleaded with Runwoo to release his pheromones for him. Junwoo released a faint scent and said, "Do you like my pheromones? I like yours too." Runwoo leaned down and inhaled Tae-gom's scent. Tae-gom immediately changed positions, pinning Junwoo underneath him. They entangled each other for a while in the morning, and because their clothes were dirty, Runwoo laughed when he saw Tae-gom staring at him as he removed his shirt. Runwoo shyly asked, "Why are you looking at me like that?" Tae-gom gave him a, "So what's different from now?" "What's different?" Tae-gom teased. Being teased, Junwoo grabbed his shirt and said, "Well," but his legs were shaking. With no strength left, Tae-gom that, so he decided to bathe himself. He acted that night because it didn't feel like a dream. Tae-gom was too drunk that night to remember anything. Junwoo kissed him on the cheek and said, "I'll go bathe, and then we'll have breakfast." In reality, he wasn't drunk at all. After Runwoo went out for a cigarette, Tae-gom threw away all of Runwoo's suppression medicine, knowing that Runwoo had to take so many medications because of him. Tae-gom thought for a moment and then advised Runwoo not to smoke when he was around him to suppress pheromones. Runwoo smiled and said, "I've quit smoking because of you. I only used to smoke to control my pheromones. Now it's no longer needed." Although he smiled at Junwoo, Tae-gom felt very guilty, always pretending to understand everything about Junwoo, but not even knowing that he was an omega. Junwoo immediately noticed the words, "You're thinking too much again. It's all written on your face." Tae-gom gently kissed Junwoo's hand. "Do you know what I'm thinking?" Junwoo hugged Tae-gom warmly. Kim Do-hyun also said that we both overthink things. so don't make assumptions and come to conclusions by yourself anymore. It doesn't solve anything. Taegam coquettishly rubbed his face against Junwoo's body. Runwoo pouted, saying, "You can guess everything, but you don't know that I like you. But I did know before you said it." However, Taegam continued to stubbornly pout. "Everyone knows I like you except for you. On the other hand, because you like me, no one knows. I'm really at a loss with Do-hyun. But there is one person who knows that Runwoo likes Taegam." Taegam quickly guessed that it was Kim Do-hyun. Although a bit jealous, they are now officially a couple. Taegam rubbed his face against Junwoo's face, and even when the phone rang, he wouldn't stop. Runwoo helplessly held his face and answered the calls from Taegam's friends. Finally, he answered. "Finally, you answered the phone. Say it again." "I'm not at home," Taegam replied curtly. Hearing that Taegam was with friends, they anxiously asked if it was that person. Taegam sighed and answered, "If you already know, stop being a nuisance." However, since one of the friends in the group was heartbroken, drunk, and causing a commotion, they begged Taegam to come and help. Taegam didn't want to leave Junwoo alone, so he declined and quickly hung up. Junwoo, worried, suggested that Taegam should check on the friend. Taegam assured him not to worry. They wouldn't call back. Junwoo then shared that Taegam's friends had asked him if he was dating Taegam and if Taegam treated him well, even mentioning that it was Taegam's first relationship. Junwoo found the questions from Taegam's friends amusing and said it was hard to be close with them. Taegam nonchalantly replied that he wasn't close to them, just a regular acquaintance, which left Junwoo speechless. Taegam wanted them both to visit his house, then go out for a meal and watch a movie. But they ended up unintentionally meeting Taegam's friends at a convenience store, and reluctantly joined them. Now, except for Taegam, both Junwoo and the friends were quite drunk. They were chatting about each other and speaking ill of Taegam, with a friend eagerly pouring more alcohol for Junwoo. But Taegam quickly snatched the glass away. Runwoo tugged at Taegam's sleeve, saying he could still drink. Taegam told Junwoo to open his eyes and look at him properly, as his eyes were already drooping. Junwoo complied and looked properly, admitting he was very drunk. Taegam laughed and said, "Your friend seems to be teasing me, saying my eyes are so glazed over that you could dip them in honey." The friend praised Junwoo for being cute even while drunk, saying that they revealed their true selves when drunk. Noticing that Junwoo was emitting pheromones, another friend reminded him that only Taegam knew about it, but then remembered that Junwoo was also an omega and could smell it, so he behaved himself. Another friend lightly patted Runwoo's shoulder and asked if he knew Taegam's nickname. Junwoo proudly said he did, and then looked at Taegam with admiration, answering that Taegam was the business school god. The friends all laughed, saying it was worth it to spread the news and teasing that Taegam hated the nickname but couldn't protest because Junwoo said it. Junwoo wondered why he would dislike it, asking if it was because he was handsome. The friends guessed that Taegam was fond of Junwoo proved correct. Taegam, smiling, added, "Yeah, not hating it." Runwoo snuggled into Taegam's side and asked why he wasn't drunk. A friend mentioned he had never seen Taegam drunk before. Junwoo shared that he had seen Taegam drunk once, to the point of not being able to stand. The friends found this hard to believe and asked if Taegam drank a lot at that time. Junwoo thought for a moment and said he had drunk 500 cubic centimeters of beer. They immediately disputed this, saying Taegam usually didn't get drunk even after drinking a lot. Junwoo innocently asked Taegam if that was true. Taegam asked, "What are you saying? Shouldn't I be drunk?" He told Junwoo not to listen to what they said. Junwoo, trusting his boyfriend absolutely, had no doubts. Then, feeling sleepy, he hugged Taegam and fell asleep, getting into a romantic moment. A friend asked if they were dating, and Taegam openly smiled and said, "Yes, we started dating yesterday." The friends felt guilty for causing a commotion without knowing and apologized. Taegam reassured them it was fine since Junwoo wanted to be there. They asked why they hadn't been in touch for years, and Junwoo rubbed his chin and replied, I was just scared. I thought he might have found out about my feelings and didn't want to pressure him. During that time, Taegam thought Junwoo had discovered his feelings and hoped they would reconnect after university, but it dragged on for 5 years. Taegam felt sad that their timing was off. Just as he finished his military service, Junwoo was starting his. Fearing that forcing a reunion would ruin their friendship, Taegam took a year off to study at the same university as Junwoo, hoping to graduate together. This was the first time his friend had heard Taegam speak so candidly. As Junwoo was asleep, the friend suggested Taegam should take him home. Not wanting to wake Junwoo, Taegam carried him on his back. When they arrived at their dorm, Junwoo noticed a password lock. Taegam randomly entered his birthday and was surprised when the door opened. He gently placed Junwoo on the bed and admired him, acknowledging how much he liked him. He had imagined many times being able to do anything with Junwoo. Taegam hoped that Junwoo would always be surrounded by his pheromones, even when he wasn't around. Everyone knew Junwoo belonged to him. Taegam leaned in and whispered into Junwoo's ear, "Junwoo, are you asleep? I love you." He then kissed Junwoo while he was deeply asleep. Unlike before, now they were officially a couple. They had been together for several days. In class, Junwoo's mind was always on Taegam. Waking up in the morning, he saw Taegam beside him and smiled, asking if he was awake. Junwoo remembered the wonderful feeling and smiled shyly, feeling the fatigue of his assignments fade away. Love made the world seem brighter, right? Don't deny it. It's all written on your face, Junwoo said, seeing Taegam dressed so warmly. Sungda asked, "Aren't you hot?" Junwoo was startled, saying he felt cold and then remembered, his face flushing red. During class, Sungda excitedly invited Junwoo to join the Cherry Blossom Festival with the club next week. However, Junwoo resolutely refused, and Sungri was helpless. Later, when he finished class and went to the club room for lunch, Taegam texted asking what he planned to do after the holidays. Junwoo said he would be having lunch with the club members. Taegam also wanted to join them. Runwoo was excited about seeing him again. When Junwoo and Sungri arrived at the club room, Mindon was already there. Mindon was surprised to see Junwoo and smiled, saying Choi Taegam would also be coming. When he arrived, they would choose the menu together. Nothing escaped Mindon's keen observation. She said she had a question, and if it was inconvenient, Junwoo didn't have to answer. Understanding Mindon's intention, Junwoo openly said he had decided to date Choi Taegam. He apologized for not contacting them after their club meeting. The juniors cheerfully congratulated Junwoo on having a partner and praised them as a lovely couple. The rumor that they were dating spread throughout the school. Junwoo suddenly thought that Taegam's friends might be the source of the gossip and asked Sungda if Taegam would be joining their club. Kim Do-hee replied, "Let's not discuss that anymore and instead ask what he wants to eat." Do-hee added, "I won't eat. I had lunch before coming here. But what are you all planning to eat?" Junwoo responded that they hadn't decided yet and were waiting for Taegam to arrive to order. Sunker enthusiastically said that Taegam would join today, then continued to plead. Junwoo opened a bar at the upcoming festival, saying it was for enjoying with a loved one. Just thinking about it made him excited. Sungda was startled by the idea of enjoying with a loved one. Meanwhile, Junwoo dismissively said that enjoying it without opening a bar was still fine and not exciting at all. However, Sungda saw the bar as the essence of college life. Opening a bar at the festival was a beautiful moment of youth. Mindon then added that the bar's location wasn't very convenient, so it was essential to have senior Taegam involved because people would come to see him. Just then, Taegam arrived, and Runwoo realized Mindon's words were accurate. Taegam seemed confused about what people were talking about. Junwoo smiled and said, "They're praising you for being handsome." Sungri quickly grabbed the registration form for the Classic Literature Club and begged Taegam to join. "Just fill it out. You don't need to provide a reason." Surprisingly, without hesitation, Taegam agreed to join. Meanwhile, Do-hee kindly advised Taegam to consider that university students don't have much time for unrelated clubs. However, Taegam cheerfully responded, compared to freshmen who are about to enlist, having 2 years to be with the club is better, isn't it? So, Taegam officially signed up, much to Sung Dao's delight, while Do-hee was frustrated and Jun-woo felt helpless as everyone was excited. The form for Choi Taegam's club membership was in Sung Dao's hand. Min-don then asked Taegam to help with the bar project at the festival. It wouldn't require much work, just some basic assistance. Seeing Taegam's unenthusiastic expression, Min-don used psychological tactics, mentioning Jun-woo's popularity and suggesting he wouldn't want to do it alone. They were anxious. Hearing Jun-woo hadn't decided to join yet, Min-don used another psychological tactic, saying it was her last festival before starting an internship, so she wanted the bar to succeed. Due to her sincerity, Run-woo asked, "Is it because of Min-don's comment that Taegam is worried about you?" Taegam replied, "Not exactly. I just thought it would be fun to join Jun-woo, but I wonder why with the two of you the bar wouldn't lose money." Jun-woo laughed, saying, "With your looks, how could we possibly lose money?" Taegam found this quite absurd. After looking at Run-woo for a moment, Taegam suddenly sat up and said, "Don't work at the bar anymore. I'll take over the bar duties. Don't participate anymore." As Taegam spoke, he emitted pheromones around Jun-woo. Jun-woo, confused, asked why. "If we're doing it, we should do it together. Why should you do it alone?" Taegam suddenly pulled at Run-woo's shirt, revealing red marks on his neck. "Do you want to show your neck? Some people are coming to watch you." Taegam took the opportunity to add another red mark on Run-woo's neck. Run-woo quickly said, "Taegam, don't pay attention to Min-don's words. It's just that Jun-woo doesn't realize his own attractiveness." Taegam pouted and said, "You really don't know yourself." Then he suddenly pushed Run-woo down onto a chair. The two shared a sweet kiss in the club room. While they were together in the room, they suddenly heard someone outside locking the door. "Hey, is anyone there? Seems like no one is around. Let's go quickly." Both were startled and paused. Jun-woo tried not to make any noise. Suddenly, Taegam smirked and moved, causing Jun-woo to make a sound. Despite quickly covering his mouth, it seemed like someone outside had heard something. It sounded like there was someone inside. Jun-woo sulked, feeling frustrated. The culprit was gleeful, but eventually the people outside left. Run-woo scolded him. "That was a really close call. How did it feel?" Run-woo, feeling embarrassed, festival took place. Seeing Run-woo in high spirits, showing off his leader hat, Taegam rummaged through and took out the godly and handsome hats for Jun-woo and himself. Meanwhile, Min-don, very wisely, was the only one who specifically requested not to have any writing on the hats, making Jun-woo very jealous. Just then, Do-hyun arrived with a box of items and saw the hat on Jun-woo's head, causing Jun-woo to laugh. Everyone then joined in, teasing Jun-woo, making him blush with embarrassment. Jun-woo received the uniform from Do-hyun and said, "Thank you, Junior." Do-hyun sighed and replied with a smile, "It's tough for the senior handsome too." Then, a moment later, Taegam arrived, excitedly showing off the two new hats. Taegam, with a shy expression, asked, "I'm the godly one, Jun-woo is the handsome one, and the leader is you, right?" Yes, you chose correctly, right?" Sung-da excitedly replied. Suddenly, Taegam took the leader's hat off Sung-da and put it on his own head. He asked if it was okay and if there was a problem. In Sung-da's eyes, Taegam was number one, so he immediately agreed. Seeing Taegam cleverly swap for a better hat, Jun-woo admired the cleverness. Taegam smiled and responded immediately, while Run-woo quickly swapped the leader's hat with the handsome one. He asked Taegam, "Can I wear this? You're so perceptive." Taegam admired him and said. Jun-woo quickly replied, matching the playfulness. The business couple looked at each other and laughed. To promote the bar, the two of them planned to tour the festival area. Tae-gom, embarrassed, said, "Can't I be the godly one in business?" However, Minzy didn't agree and kicked them both out. She even said they should consider this as a date. After walking for a while, Runwoo asked, "Why are you willing to do these things?" Tae-gom responded with a smile, "Because you're my friend and it's fun to do this with you." He held Runwoo's hand and continued, just like Mindon said, "Let's consider this a date." After a while, they encountered a group asking for directions to the bar. Noticing the Omega pheromones, Junwoo stepped in front, guiding them while holding Tae-gom's hand tightly. Tae-gom was surprised by the pheromones and covered his nose. Then they stopped to rest. Junwoo worriedly asked if Tae-gom was okay. Tae-gom said, "I'm not feeling great. Can you hold me for a bit?" Runwoo hugged him. He asked Tae-gom, "If you're tired, let's go home." Tae-gom said, "I'm fine. I just need a little of this to feel better." Junwoo hadn't anticipated encountering Omega while promoting. He anxiously reminded Tae-gom to tell him immediately if he felt unwell. Tae-gom leaned his head against Runwoo and smiled, "Then hold my hand, and I'll be fine." Junwoo smiled. Finally, the romantic bar and the godly business leader opened their doors, attracting quite a few customers. Junwoo noticed that Tae-gom was good at everything he did. The problem was when taking orders, people often took the opportunity to ask various questions just to see him. Of course, Tae-gom skillfully ignored them and left the table. While focusing on Tae-gom, someone asked Junwoo for an order, startling him. As he was receiving the order, Tae-gom came over. He said he would take over Junwoo's duties and asked Runwoo to clear the table. Seeing Tae-gom treating his lover like this made Runwoo laugh. A girl suggested that Tae-gom could take off his hat for a moment. Hearing this, Junwoo immediately tried to stop him, but unexpectedly, Tae-gom proactively took off his hat as requested. Junwoo stood there in shock for a moment and then, feeling frustrated, went inside. He angrily threw the trash into the bin. Tae-gom showing his face to others wasn't a big deal, but Junwoo suddenly felt irritated. Do-hyun saw this and came to check on Junwoo, who said he was fine and continued cleaning. Noticing Junwoo's displeasure, Tae-gom wanted to talk to him for a moment. However, Junwoo deliberately ignored him and said, "Let's talk later because I'm very busy right now." Tae-gom grabbed Runwoo's hand and insisted on talking immediately. They went to a quiet place. Tae-gom gently asked Junwoo to look at him and asked, "Did I do something wrong?" Junwoo responded, "What did you do wrong?" But then he asked in return, "Why are you putting so much effort into this? Shouldn't I just do things half-heartedly?" Tae-gom immediately replied, "But that's not what I meant. You can do it moderately. Just be like your usual self." "If I were like my usual self, this wine would be ruined," Tae-gom said. "Since this is the club's effort, it can't be ruined." Junwoo gathered his courage and said, "So, you're willing to let them scrutinize you? Is that so?" While answering those questions might be unavoidable, it's clear they're paying attention to you, and they even want you to take off your hat. Feeling flustered and realizing he was indeed feeling jealous, Junwoo was taken aback. Tae-gom grabbed his hand, then leaned in to kiss Junwoo. Although surprised, Junwoo quickly responded, whispering, Tae-gom was pleased to hear that Junwoo knew he was jealous. Tae-gom shared that he was the one who wanted to go crazy today because so many people asked if Junwoo had a partner. Junwoo was curious about Tae-gom cheerfully replied, "I'm his partner." Both laughed with delight. With the issue resolved, they went back to work. Mindon and Do-hyun sighed and teased, "Looks like they've made up." Junwoo awkwardly explained, "We didn't have an argument." Tae-gom marked his territory by emitting pheromones around him. Junwoo-hyun approached to confide, "Sometimes I don't know if you're an Omega or Alpha." Junwoo chuckled awkwardly. When a customer ordered an egg roll, Junwoo happily brought the food to the customer, glancing over at Tae-gom who was smiling. Receiving the order from the customer, Junwoo felt uncomfortable. Seeing his junior with a sold-out hat, Runwoo awkwardly asked him, "Do you have a partner?" The junior shyly replied, "I don't have a partner." Runwoo suggested borrowing the hat. His intention was to make Taegam wear it to announce that the item was out of stock. Sung-tae ran out to stop him, asking if he was going to steal the hat again. Although Sung-tae was upset because the hat of the leader was on Junwoo's head, he couldn't stop Runwoo from taking the sold-out hat. Just as he was about to comfort his junior, Taegam suddenly grabbed Junwoo's hand. He asked if everyone wasn't working. Then he smiled warmly, telling Sung-dae to bring beer to the customers. Sung-dae immediately ran to do so. Next, he turned to the junior with the sold-out hat and asked if he wanted to wear the leader's hat or the handsome guy's hat. As a result, the junior wore Junwoo's leader hat while Runwoo ended up with the sold-out hat, even though he originally intended for Taegam to wear it. Min-don asked if the bar was making a profit. Minzy cheerfully announced that the bar had been profitable for a while, so the remaining drinks and food were for everyone. In the club, Taifo worked diligently, and Min's son told the junior to rest and go home early as he had to work a part-time job. Junwoo curiously asked what the junior did for a part-time job. Do-hee-hun, while texting, replied, "He tutors a 9th grader. It must be tiring, right?" The junior said, "He's very obedient. But there are other things to consider. His family situation is fine, but his parents don't care about him. He doesn't get along well with his classmates at school. I thought I wouldn't be able to tutor today, but luckily I made it in time." He said he was home alone. Junwoo asked how long Do-hee-hun had been tutoring. When told 2 weeks, Junwoo smiled and added, "You're kind-hearted for being so considerate after just 2 weeks of tutoring." Then Runwoo urged Do-hee-hun to hurry. Do-hee-hun, feeling embarrassed, tried to say something but looked away, his ears turning red. Min-don announced that everyone should clean up and close the bar. The club members gathered for a celebration. Min-don toasted to the 2 seniors, thanking them for making the bar profitable. Receiving a soft drink from Taegam, Junwoo said, "Everyone comes here just to see Choi Taegam." Min-don thought there were many people who came because of feelings too. Junwoo commented that he was quite famous in his department. Min-jona's everyone cheerfully raised their glasses, celebrating the success of the bar. A little later, Sung-due cried thinking about the prospect of parting with Min-don. He rambled on, asking Min-don not to have work so they could go to school together. Seeing this, Taegam asked Junwoo if he would be sad if he graduated and started working before him. Both were still lounging around, not yet awake when Junwoo's mother called, reminding him that the week before his birthday, she would make seaweed soup and asking him to come home to eat. She also asked him to bring Taegam along. Taegam, waking up, called out to Runwoo and kissed him, feeling annoyed at the noise, and said, "Sorry, I woke you up. It's not your fault. I just woke up because I heard your voice." Taegam asked Junwoo about his mother's message. Junwoo invited Taegam to come home with him. Taegam asked what gift Junwoo would like. Runwoo said, "I don't really want anything." Taegam knew Junwoo would say that. It had been a long time since they could celebrate their birthdays together, so both were excited and happy. A week passed quickly, and Junwoo, along with some friends, celebrated his birthday. Taegam went to pick up his beloved from the venue. Upon arriving home and lying in Taegam's arms, Junwoo, a little tipsy, couldn't fall asleep. He felt a bit regretful if he fell asleep like this. Junwoo gave a signal to Taegam, saying, "Taegam, try to hold back. We still need to go home to see my parents tomorrow." Junwoo sat there for a while, then imitated what Taegam had done last time and practiced. According to Junwoo, the more focused he was, the more pheromones Taegam emitted. After finishing, Taegam wanted to continue, but Junwoo stopped him, saying, "Hold on, we still have to go home tomorrow." Taegam's voice was interrupted by a loud knock at the door. Junwoo's mother angrily opened the door. Seeing Junwoo being pinned down by Taegam, She was furious, shouting, "What are you doing?" Taegam quickly explained, "It's not what you think." However, she didn't listen and angrily approached, hitting her son. "Are you crazy? What the hell are you doing?" Then she turned to Junwoo and asked, "Are you okay? You look pale, like you've lost all your blood." Her attitude was gentle, unlike her son's. She scolded Taegam and warned, "Choi Taegam, remember what I told you before. Make sure your relationship is good." After she left, Taegam, exhausted, lay down on Junwoo's lap. Junwoo was surprised that she wasn't as shocked as he expected. Taegam smiled, saying, "I guess my mother had an idea about how I've liked you for years. That's why she thought I might have done something reckless with you because I've endured so much." Junwoo remarked, "Isn't it a bit harsh to judge your son so strictly?" On the contrary, Taegam happily replied, "It's because I have a track record. Last time, when I had to take a break from school due to transitioning into an alpha, and you came to visit me, you emitted pheromones all over me, and my mother discovered it and scolded me." Junwoo had dinner at Taegam's house before heading back home, but his parents still hadn't returned. He was bored, rolling around on the bed, regretting not staying longer at Taegam's house. The next morning, Taegam gently woke Runwoo. "Get up, Runwoo. It's early and you should get up." Taegam mentioned that it seemed like he had been very busy, as he had just come home and then left again. Taegam added, "I was going to wake you up, but he said you'd come home at night, so I let you sleep. Come and have breakfast with me." Junwoo was surprised to see a table full of delicious food. "Who cooked all this?" Junwoo asked, even more astonished when Taegam said it was him. "There were enough ingredients at home, and my aunt said to use them freely," Taegam explained. "You know how to cook?" Junwoo asked, still surprised. Taegam recounted, "I learned to cook from my father. I even cook some dishes better than my dad." Junwoo took a bite and responded emotionally, "Did I just think about marrying you because of this?" Taegam was delighted and giggled. He added, "I learned to cook to make food for you. My dad won my mom over with his cooking skills. Finally, I get to cook for you." Junwoo looked at Taegam with emotion and softly said, "Thank you for everything, because the food was so delicious." Runwoo ate until he was full and then watched his lover wash the dishes. Taegam mentioned that they would go shopping together and cook for Junwoo regularly in the future. Junwoo hugged Taegam from behind. Taegam, surprised, called out, "Junwoo." Junwoo replied, "I was just asking. Let's live together, okay? I know there are many things to consider, like getting our parents' approval, but we're almost living together already. I'm not pressuring you," Runwoo said, burying his face in Taegam's back. Taegam removed Runwoo's hands from him, pulled something out of his pocket, and said, "Junwoo, I wasn't planning on just giving this to you. I bought it after searching for it." When Taegam proposed, Junwoo looked down at a beautiful ring that Taegam put on his ring finger. Taegam took out another ring and gave it to Junwoo, saying, "This one is mine. Here, put it on for me." Junwoo, touched, shakily put the ring on Taegam. Taegam kissed the ring on Junwoo's finger, unable to hold back his emotions any longer. Runwoo, with tears in his eyes, looked at Taegam. "Why are you crying?" Taegam gently asked. "I'm not crying," Junwoo shyly replied. Taegam hugged him tightly, comforting him. "It's okay. It's okay. I like you, Junwoo. I love you." Junwoo buried his face in Taegam's chest, overwhelmed with emotion. He loved the gentle voice, the warm pheromone scent, and loved Taegam himself. Taegam, with his face wet from tears, looked up and said, "I feel the same way. Let's live together. I will persuade my parents. Then we will eat together, sleep together, and wake up together." Taegam gently wiped Junwoo's tears and said, "We'll go through everything together." He kissed Junwoo's forehead as if sealing a promise. Just living together. Junwoo went for a routine checkup at the hospital. The doctor reported that the results were no different from the previous ones. His pheromone levels were still increasing steadily, and his current estrous state had returned to normal. The doctor said that this increase in pheromones was due to the dominant influence of his partner and that it had a positive effect, so there was no need to worry. Hearing this, Runwoo was all smiles. He thought that if Taegam heard this, he would be continuously smiling. Junwoo went to the hospital for a checkup because Taegam was concerned about him. Since college, his pheromone levels had been gradually increasing, and now they were like a normal omega. The doctor asked, "Do you have any more questions?" Junwoo hesitated and then asked, "Can I get pregnant?" The doctor said that it was very difficult for a suppressed omega like him to get pregnant. Even though he asked, he already knew the answer. After Taegam finished his internship, they officially moved in together and had been living together for 5 years now. Currently, Taegam had been promoted to deputy manager at his company, while Junwoo, after graduating with a master's degree, had translated several English books and was now a freelance translator. Overall, both of them had stable positions in their careers. Junwoo was cooking when Taegam came home from work. Today, he came home earlier than usual. Junwoo, concerned, asked, "You must be tired. Haven't you had dinner yet?" "Yes, I'm very hungry," Taegam replied, then suddenly threw himself into a hug with Junwoo. Junwoo also hugged Taegam and patted his back for a while. Seeing Taegam still burying his head in his shoulder, Junwoo patted Taegam's back and told him to let go so he could prepare dinner. "Just a little longer," Taegam pleaded. They thought there might be something more, but took the initiative to stop and go take a shower. "If we go any further, I won't be able to stop," Taegam said, then wearily headed downstairs to take a shower. Thanks to Taegam's guidance, Junwoo was now able to cook a delicious pot of soybean paste soup. It took him 3 years to master the soup, so his next goal was to master kimchi soup in 2 years. Taegam asked about Junwoo's medical checkup, and Junwoo relayed the doctor's words. "Everything is normal. The dominant influence of Taegam is having a positive effect, so there's nothing to worry about." Runwoo smiled broadly, saying, "By the way, the doctor also called me your partner." Junwoo teased, "So that's why you called me darling last time?" They both laughed. Taegam then asked, "Did the doctor say anything else?" Junwoo's expression turned serious as he said, "I asked if I could get pregnant. The doctor said it's difficult." Taegam calmly replied, "If you're okay with it, then I am too. I don't really want to have a baby. It's not a duty." "Are you sad that you can't get pregnant?" Taegam asked with concern. Junwoo said he wasn't sad, which reassured Taegam. Junwoo felt a bit of regret because a baby resembling Taegam would have been adorable. Seeing Junwoo's expression, Taegam asked, "So, my love, do you want a baby?" They watched a movie together, one they had seen before. However, Junwoo didn't remember much and acted like it was the first time they were watching it, which made Taegam laugh and tease him. "I don't understand how you used to be so attentive," Taegam said, leaning against Junwoo and wrapping his arms around his waist. Taegam looked at him with affection and deliberately gave signals. Realizing this, Junwoo couldn't pretend not to notice and actively kissed him. Taegam acted as if it was a green light. Perhaps because of his rut period, Junwoo felt more acutely today. Taegam was always warm and sweet, but Junwoo was still enamored by Taegam's attractiveness. They both sighed and then rested their heads against each other. The next morning, Junwoo woke up around noon. Taegam had cleaned up before going to work and had left a message reminding Junwoo to reheat the fried rice in the kitchen and not to overwork himself. The message ended with "I love you" as usual. Junwoo was touched that Taegam had gone to work after barely 3 hours of sleep. Even after being together for 5 years, Junwoo was still moved by the words, "I love you," he called Taegam. Taegam's sweet voice made Junwoo's heart flutter. Perhaps it was because of their deep feelings for each other. They talked and checked in on each other. Taegam said he would be home late that night and reminded Junwoo to eat dinner before waiting for him. "Don't wait for me," Taegam said finally. I love you, and I know you do too, Junwoo replied with a smile. Seeing that Taegam was very busy lately because he was concerned about his health, Junwoo decided he would need to tone it down. Just as he was planning to talk to Taegam about it, he found it odd that since that day, Taegam hadn't touched him at all. Today, Junwoo had a meeting with his juniors Sungda and Min-don. It had been a while since they all met. Sungda had lost 10 kilograms due to studying hard. Min-don was now working at a travel company. However, they still bickered just like before. Min-don shared that she was about to switch companies. She received an offer from a travel company with a much higher salary. Although the job would be more challenging, it was good for her career, especially since her current boss was unpleasant and constantly meddling, telling her to get married soon. Min-don then asked Junwoo why he wasn't getting married. Junwoo helplessly explained that it was also meddling. Whenever you have time, we'll arrange it, he said. Sungda asked, how long have you been dating Taegam? 5 years, Junwoo replied. Min-don asked, do you still feel excited? Junwoo immediately said, absolutely not, but then he sighed and was about to say something, only to change his mind and say it was nothing. Min-don said, it would be strange if you were still passionate after so many years. Also, I heard that Taegam has been very busy lately, which might be why. Junwoo sighed, I think so too. But it feels sudden. Lately, Taegam has been very strange. Since that movie night, sometimes he seems distracted, and he doesn't touch me even with a finger. There was even a time I woke up early and saw him sleeping on the sofa. I had thought about toning it down, but I had no intention of giving up on physical affection. Usually, he wouldn't kiss or hug me while sleeping. Junwoo confided. It's not because he's busy or doesn't have time. It seems intentional. Min-don thought it could be a phase of boredom or incompatibility in their physical relationship. Sungda believed Taegam was concerned about Junwoo and was restraining himself to prevent the fire from igniting. So he had put it out. Junwoo thought this made sense. Seeing the two of them so in love, Sungda felt a bit envious and wished for a partner too. Min-don added that another person was dating, which was Do-hyun. Since last year, he had been busy with a relationship. Junwoo noticed how quickly time passed. Do-hyun, who was a freshman, was now a graduate. A while later, it suddenly started raining. Taegam immediately called. Everyone looked at Junwoo, and then Taegam said, it doesn't seem like a boring period, as he began to head out to pick up Junwoo and asked for the specific address of the place. Junwoo gave him the name and description. Taegam said he would arrive soon and reminded Junwoo to stay inside since it was raining. Hearing their affectionate conversation, Min-don continued to insist it wasn't a boring period. Before Taegam arrived, the three of them drank happily together. A little later, Taegam arrived, and Junwoo was starting to feel tipsy. Taegam gently touched his cheek and said, I had trouble finding you. Did you drink a lot? Junwoo's juniors were upset at being treated like invisible. Taegam handed a glass of water to Junwoo and tenderly wiped his mouth before turning to talk to the juniors. Taegam noticed that they hadn't changed at all. Sungda complained that despite losing 10 kilograms, he hadn't noticed. While they were talking, Junwoo looked at Taegam and was about to touch his thigh but was stopped by him, who then gently patted him. Since the juniors wanted to stay and drink more, Taegam paid the bill and took Junwoo home first. Taegam asked if Junwoo had enjoyed himself, and Junwoo said he had because it had been a long time since he saw his juniors. He updated Taegam on their situation. Suddenly, Junwoo paused and admired his handsome partner. He asked if Taegam was off work the next day. Understanding Junwoo's hint, Taegam smiled and said, yes, tomorrow is Saturday, but then changed the subject. He asked if Junwoo had locked the door to his room. Junwoo said he had already locked it, given that it was raining, and wondered if he should tease him. Taegam said he would come to pick him up, which made Junwoo laugh. That's true, Taegam said, affectionately looking at Junwoo. Junwoo was mesmerized by Taegam's handsomeness as he helped him into the car, carefully reminding him to avoid bumping his head on the car door. Even after so many years together, Taegom's care and attention hadn't changed. So Junwoo believed it couldn't be a boring phase in their relationship. Whenever asked about marriage, Junwoo didn't pay much attention, but now he felt that if they entered into that family relationship, he might understand what happiness was. However, when they reached the apartment, Taegom suddenly said he would temporarily sleep in the living room for a few days over the weekend. Junwoo was surprised and asked if it was because he snored in his sleep. Taegom explained it wasn't about Junwoo but because he was approaching his rut period, and his suppressants were running out. Junwoo worried and asked, "So what will you do when the rut period comes?" Taegom replied with a smile, "We can just do it as many times as you want, and you'll regret it." When they got upstairs, Junwoo continued to try to convince Taegom that he was fine, but Taegom remained adamant. Even after being together for so long, he didn't want to control Junwoo with pheromones. Taegom sighed and reassured Junwoo, "Don't make that face. It's just that I'm afraid I might lose control. Do you remember the last time I was in estrus? I'm worried that I might do more than that. I know you're already very tired. I'm not confident I can be affectionate." As Taegom spoke, his pheromones uncontrollably radiated. For a moment, Junwoo pleaded with Taegom to stay with him until he fell asleep. Taegom indulgently agreed and lay his head on Junwoo's arm. Junwoo whispered, "Taegom, I love you. No matter what you do." Taegom looked at Junwoo for a while and then said, "Let's sleep." In the middle of the night, Junwoo woke up to find that Taegom was no longer beside him. He started up, startled. Not knowing where Taegom was, he checked the living room, but Taegom wasn't there. He went to the bathroom and knocked on the door. "Taegom, are you in there? Can I come in?" As he slowly opened the door, Taegom's pheromones immediately wafted out. Taegom stood under the shower, soaking wet, with cold water cascading down. Junwoo quickly ran over and pulled him out. "What are you doing? Come outside first." Taegom leaned his head against Junwoo's shoulder, then suddenly pushed him against the wall, his breathing trembling uncontrollably, and his eyes lost their clarity. "Junwoo, Junwoo," Taegom called out repeatedly, nuzzling his head into the crook of Junwoo's neck. Taegom was in estrus. His pheromones radiated so intensely that Junwoo began to lose his composure as well. Junwoo also started releasing pheromones. The familiar scent of Taegom's pheromones brought Junwoo back to his senses, and he staggered back, exclaiming, "Junwoo, don't hold back anymore. Just do it." He said this while actively kissing Taegom. They ended up on the sofa in the living room, with Taegom urgently attacking Junwoo. Junwoo, in fear, cried out, "No, not yet." Meanwhile, Taegom was not clear-headed enough to realize this. However, when he saw Junwoo crying, Taegom came to his senses, kissed him gently, and whispered, "Don't cry." Junwoo released pheromones and actively embraced and kissed Taegom. "Taegom, please hurry." In this confusing state, Junwoo urged, "If you don't want to, you need me." By the next morning, Taegom's pheromone levels and body temperature had stabilized. It seemed his estrus period had ended. Junwoo. Today, Junwoo caught a cold. Taegom, worried, repeatedly asked if he was okay. Junwoo said it was just a common cold. Despite this, Taegom left his car at home and told Junwoo to get a checkup at the hospital. "I'll be home early," Taegom said. He kissed Junwoo's cheek and then went to work. Junwoo also went to the hospital but to the obstetrics department because he felt something miraculous was happening. As expected, the doctor happily announced that Junwoo was 3 weeks pregnant. The colleagues admired Taegom's charm and good looks. A female colleague teased that without a partner, she might have been charmed by him. Another colleague pointed out that Taegom wore a ring, so he was likely already married. Taegom did not hide but briefly shared his love story with his colleagues. When asked if he ever got bored after being together for so long, Taegom said without hesitation, "No, life with her makes me very happy." The colleagues admired Taegom's loyalty and joked that there might be a marriage announcement soon. Tae-gom admired the small, beautiful box in his pocket, wondering how Jun-woo would react when he gave it to him. They had been living together for 5 years. Jun-woo worked as a freelance translator, while Tae-gom had joined his mother's company as an intern and had now become an assistant, though initially misunderstood as having gotten the position through connections, which was a bit troublesome. A female colleague reminded him about a celebration for a successful project completion that day, which Tae-gom had completely forgotten. He forced a smile and scheduled a meeting with everyone. Tae-gom felt helpless because he had promised Jun-woo that he would come home early. He called Jun-woo and asked about his checkup. However, Jun-woo didn't immediately reveal the results, but said he would share them when Tae-gom got home. Tae-gom wondered if Jun-woo wanted to say that he was pregnant. However, he didn't want to rush into asking because he was afraid of upsetting Jun-woo. He apologized for not being able to come home early. Jun-woo didn't blame him because it was work, and Tae-gom worriedly asked, "Is there anything else at the hospital?" The doctor said, "You have a cold. I was just joking about you coming home early because I missed you," Jun-woo replied. "I'll be back as soon as I can," Tae-gom said. He wanted to meet Tae-gom briefly during lunch. At the cafe, Tae-gom looked around for Jun-woo and saw a glass of water on the table. Tae-gom asked, "You're not drinking coffee? Why did you arrive so quickly?" Jun-woo responded, "I came here after eating, so you had to arrive quickly, right? Because my love is waiting." Tae-gom's words moved Jun-woo deeply. Tae-gom then asked about the drink Jun-woo had ordered and commented that it didn't taste good. Jun-woo awkwardly replied, "It's a health tea because I think it's good for health." Tae-gom smiled subtly and then inquired, "Was there anything at the hospital?" Jun-woo hesitated before saying, "No, it's just a cold. I came because I missed you. Don't you miss me?" Tae-gom smiled brightly and said, "I always miss you. It's not hard to wait until Jun-woo reveals the secret he's been holding for 5 years. I've spent my whole life loving you, so there's no way I can't endure the secret you haven't shared yet. But I do wish I didn't have to wait too long." The party ended very late, so Jun-woo came to pick up Tae-gom. Seeing him, Tae-gom embraced him from behind and kissed his cheeks repeatedly. Tae-gom seemed worried that Jun-woo was standing outside in the heat and affirmed that he came inside because he was afraid Tae-gom would drink too much. However, Tae-gom said he wasn't very drunk. He continued to kiss Jun-woo's cheeks. Just then, some colleagues spotted him and called out, "Lee Tae-gom," but when they approached and saw him being affectionate with someone, they were very surprised. Tae-gom remained calm and greeted everyone. One colleague said, "We were planning to go for a second round, but we stopped when we saw you." Another colleague seemed so shocked that he was almost in tears. Upon arrival, Tae-gom happily said, "I forgot to introduce her. She's the one I'm dating." "Hello, everyone." Jun-woo smiled and greeted them. Tae-gom briefly introduced his colleagues to Jun-woo. Jun-woo said, "I've heard a lot about everyone. He's been helped a lot by you all." A female colleague cheerfully added, "The assistant has talked a lot about her boyfriend, right?" said a colleague named Rusio, who then nudged the colleague next to him. Rusio awkwardly said, "Yes," as he said, "She is indeed very handsome." The three quickly left and planned to meet again for a proper get-together. As soon as they got in the car, Tae-gom held Jun-woo's face and kissed him passionately. "Why are you suddenly so excited?" Jun-woo asked. Tae-gom playfully replied, "Every time I see you, I get like this." Jun-woo teased, "What will you do at work?" Tae-gom said he just wanted to stay home. Tae-gom kissed Jun-woo again. "Then you should take a break. I'll earn money to support you," Jun-woo declared proudly. "Okay, you're a bit too excited." Jun-woo stopped him, saying, "We're in the car." Tae-gom laughed and straightened up. He said, "Why? Last time you enjoyed it in the car, didn't you?" Jun-woo's face turned red with embarrassment. Tae-gom seriously asked if Jun-woo had taken his medicine and how he was feeling. Meanwhile, Jun-woo changed the subject. He asked about the person who seemed very concerned about Tae-gom. Tae-gom was puzzled and asked, "Who?" Junwoo laughed and said, "Don't pretend you didn't see." The expression on their face was like the sky was falling. Junwoo asked if that person had confessed to Taegam. Taegam nonchalantly replied, "No." Hearing this, Taegam realized that Rusio had been acting that way. Taegam honestly admitted, "Rusio once bought coffee for me, but I didn't accept it." Junwoo was silent for a moment before asking, "Since when?" Taegam was slightly flustered and explained, "I really don't remember clearly. It must have been at the start of the project. I didn't pay attention to him." "That's understandable." Junwoo responded coldly, "It's natural." They were silent for a while before Junwoo asked, "Why didn't you tell me?" Taegam, looking guilty, replied, "It didn't seem important, so I didn't think I needed to mention it." "I'm sorry." Seeing Junwoo's silence, Taegam continuously called his name. Junwoo seemed still upset. He said they would talk when they got home. Once home, Junwoo went straight to the bedroom. Taegam climbed into bed and softly said, "Lee Junwoo, I'm sorry. Don't be mad." Taegam held Junwoo close in his arms. Taegam texted Junwoo, saying he would come home early and reminded him to eat well. However, after a while, he didn't receive a reply from Junwoo as usual. Just then, a female colleague noticed him standing absent-mindedly and asked if something was wrong. When Taegam explained that it was the first time he had an argument with his partner after 5 years of dating, she was quite surprised. She suggested that he let things be for a while and that his partner would cool off, or he could bring back some delicious food. Since it wasn't his fault, eventually his partner would understand. However, she concluded that while misunderstandings might be resolved, emotional issues might not be so easily fixed. Junwoo had responded to Taegam's messages, but he decided to go home and apologize again. The boss announced that there would be a company dinner that evening. For the first time since starting his job, Taegam genuinely wanted to quit. He called Junwoo to apologize for being late. Junwoo asked if Rusio would be there too. Taegam honestly admitted that Rusio might be there, but they wouldn't have to interact. "Okay. Be careful," Junwoo replied indifferently. Many days passed, and Taegam had to continually apologize to Junwoo for coming home late. Junwoo coldly remarked, "You're often late from work." Tonight, there was another company party, but Taegam decided to ask for leave to go home early. He firmly declared, "I have an appointment. See you on Monday." He thought he might as well refuse straight away. Taegam left the party and rushed home, shaking. Junwoo, surprised, opened the door. "Did something happen?" Junwoo asked. "What about the party?" Taegam embraced his partner tightly, nuzzling his head into him. Junwoo said, "You skipped the party. If you get fired, I'll have to support you." Junwoo laughed. "Then I'll have to work hard." Taegam kissed Junwoo's cheek and said, "I'll go take a shower and come right in." While showering, Taegam planned to explain the reasons for his frequent lateness, clarify that Rusio had stopped pursuing him, and sincerely apologize for hurting Junwoo. He also wanted to express his feelings during this period. As soon as he finished showering, Taegam saw Junwoo waiting for him outside. He intended to cook pasta for Junwoo, but Junwoo stopped him. "I have something to say. Sit down for a moment." Seeing Junwoo's serious demeanor, Taegam knew that something was about to happen. However, he thought Junwoo would talk about Rusio, but instead Junwoo said, "We've been together for 5 years now." "That's long enough." Taegam was a bit scared. He didn't understand what Junwoo meant by long enough. He was anxious, fearing that Junwoo might want to break up. But instead, Junwoo said, "Let's get married." Taegam stared at Junwoo in astonishment. Junwoo smiled at him. After a moment of being stunned, tears streamed down Taegam's face. Junwoo asked in surprise, "Why are you crying?" Taegam, trembling, continued to cry uncontrollably. "Junwoo, I'm sorry. I thought you were breaking up with me. You didn't contact me for 3 days, and when I came home, you were already asleep and had turned off your phone." Junwoo gently explained, "Why would I be angry with you? I was just busy, And you were busy too. Don't cry anymore. Taegam continued to sob. I thought you were saying goodbye because you were angry with me. So I thought you wanted to end things. Junwoo wiped Taegam's tears away and said, Isn't it because of what happened last time? It wasn't your fault. Were you in a bad mood? I'm sorry for making you feel insecure. Taegam embraced Junwoo tightly and buried his face in his shoulder. Junwoo stroked his hair and then suddenly added, I'm pregnant. 3 weeks along. Oh, it's actually 4 weeks now. It's the early stage, and since I'm an Omega, I've been feeling anxious and couldn't tell you. That's why I've been like this. I've been a bit sleepy and sensitive. I underestimated how intense a dominant alpha could be. Junwoo chuckled. Although he had stopped crying, Taegam started crying again when he heard Junwoo's news of pregnancy, and then broke down completely. I'll do my best, he sobbed. Taegam held Junwoo tightly, and they thanked each other. Taegam kissed Junwoo's forehead and said, You've worked hard, my Junwoo. Seeing Taegam's teary eyes, Junwoo couldn't help but rest his head on his shoulder. They embraced each other happily. Taegam took out the engagement rings he had prepared and presented them to Junwoo. He had bought the rings but didn't know how to give them to him, so he had kept them with him. As he put the sparkling ring on Junwoo's finger, Junwoo admired it for a moment. Taegam confidently declared, I will make you happy. Let's get married, Junwoo. The event of the day was like a moment Taegam had been waiting for, just as Junwoo had cried when he proposed to live together. Hearing Junwoo's proposal to get married was a moment that filled Taegam's life with joy.